no. Where'd it go? Oh, I found it.
Thanks for tuning into the Carry Handle podcast. Here's your hosts, Bryce and Kevin.
Welcome back to the Carry Handle podcast, and I have Kevin with me. I'm gonna have to rechange the intro because Kevin pointed out that I reintroduce us every time we do this, and he thinks I'm stupid. Which I mean, it's probably accurate. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
Hello, Bryce, who's not stupid, and I've never said that, and I recant all statements that have been said previously by Bryce.
I'm going to find a recording, and it's just going to be you going, I don't know why you keep doing this. Why have you done this to me?
You know what would be really cool is if I
roll friends of the channel.
Damn
before you
you
do
and
the
your
thing
friend.
that you keep
Damn
doing.
you and your
We
friends
literally
of the channel.
talk about this
Damn
before every
you
recording.
and your friends.
I love that you're excited, but here, I got to do the thing, okay?
You know what? Fine. I'm making a water.
All right, you do that.
We want to take this time to thank friends of the channel who provided us 10% discount codes for our listeners. That's you, and we don't get kickbacks. First is Hammy 3D Prints. Thousands of products for firearm storage and other fun stuff, too. Code CarryHandle10. Eastern Shore Sling Company. Handmade rifle slings and custom sewing. Dog leashes, too. Code CarryHandle. 19 Charlie Tactical. Gunsmithing, Kydex holsters, thousands of drop-ship gun parts, accessories, tools, firearms. Code TheCarryHandle10. And lastly, I want to thank myself for all the scheduling and all the shenanigans I deal with daily. Thank you, Hannah.
Yes, thank you, Hannah. I like leaving that in because it adds a little bit of sass she's known for. All right, Kevin, what were you going to say before I rudely played the thing that we need to play before every episode?
I'm happy that we have friends on the channel, but I also would like to talk about...
pouting.
I would like to talk about affordable, reasonable, interesting optics with our friend from Gideon Optics, Mike.
Mike from Gideon Optics. Thank you for coming on, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing tonight?
We're doing well. We're definitely the most professional podcasters that have ever podcasted.
Very
I'm
professional.
definitely the most professional optics guy you've ever met, so we're gonna get along great.
We appreciated your Cookie Monster rendition. It was peak. Really nice.
Yeah. For those of you that were not here for the Cookie Monster rendition, I had a wolf down dinner before we started the podcast, and yes, it was pretty much like Cookie Monster.
It was impressive, to be honest.
Well, Cookie Monster impression aside, can you give us a quick intro for the people that may not know who you are, the company that you are with?
Yeah, so there would be probably a lot of people that still have not heard of Gideon because we only started it in the fall of 2022, and we've only really had products since the spring of 2023. So we're sort of entering in 2026. We're entering year 3 of having optics actually for sale. Right now, it's our third SHOT Show as Gideon Optics. So, so we're still fairly new at the optics game, but the team has a lot of experience with the team members. So, I've been doing optics since 2015. So this is my 11th or 12th SHOT Show in a row. This January that we went to, and Gideon's the third company that I've been working with in terms of the optics industry. So it's my third dance, and this is the one that I sort of helped start from scratch, from the very beginning with nothing. And it's been quite a ride, fellas. It's been quite a ride. So happy to be here, and happy to talk to you guys. And I hope that I have the reputation of a guy who sort of gives blatantly honest answers about things. So if you have any awkward questions, now's the time to ask, because I'm definitely the guy that's like, oh yeah, let me tell you how that actually works. I enjoy that. I enjoyed having that role in the industry.
Well, I know my
Very
first exposure to you was I think it was like an Instagram short, and you were talking about just the optics that you offer, and kind of I remember for a while everybody and their brother had like the same enclosed optic, and they were all like claiming, oh, it's my design, and I remember seeing your video and you're like, yeah, these are budget friendly optics. They're not, I mean, you're not destroying them with a hand grenade, but I mean they do the red dot thing, and I just was like, man, that is a really refreshing take. I really appreciated that.
Very, very honest.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? We're talking about the one that we call Mediator, and uh there's been a couple of YouTubers that have sort of put together two and two, and they're like doing a big YouTube expose, and they're like, "Oh, look, all these optics are the same, and they prove it's all one giant factory in China that is so big you can see it from outer space. It's right by the Great Wall. You can see it as the space station goes by. They're all made in one place, and they put whatever brand name you want on the side, and this optic proves it." And it's like, no, not really, but I could see why you would think that. I could see why you would think you put two and two together, but I know what happened on that actual one was that. So what you have over there, all of our optics right now are Chinese made. They're Chinese made, Chinese imported. We help design them. I've got stuff behind me that I'm helping to design and I'm helping to give input on, and it's a collaboration, but they all come from China right now. I'm working on getting some stuff from other places, and we're working on getting things either reshored or nearshored, where they'll be either assembled in the US or assembled in this hemisphere at least. That's kind of a long-term goal, but for now it's all Chinese made stuff. And what happens over there is imagine that you have these companies that are sort of related in the same industry, and it's like Chevy, Ford, Dodge, and then there's like Chevy has Buick, Oldsmobile, and Pontiac as well, and so you have, is a Buick really a Chevy? Well, kind of. It's General Motors. So like,
Right.
it's kind of like a Chevy related, but not. They're not all made in the same place, right?
Right.
Um, and then, so what happened on that particular optic is that you had a designer who came up with a design and had, like a CAD file, like a step file. So
Mhm.
imagine like John DeLorean, he sells the plans to make the DeLorean to Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Oldsmobile, Kia, Hyundai, freaking everybody.
Mhm.
They all come out with the DeLorean at the same time, like, yeah, it's our new DeLorean. You're gonna love this thing. And then realizing really quickly that, oh wait, the same thing's being made by 5 or 6 different factories here. And 5 or 6 different factories making the same design that they bought off of the designer, who's basically like a freelance guy.
Right.
Right? So, then in those 5 or 6 factories, then you might have multiple brands per factory. So then there's your Buick, Oldsmobile, Pontiac, where, my Oldsmobile's clearly better than your Pontiac, but it's really, like
Yeah.
the old Camaros and Firebirds were basically the same thing with different bumpers and, different lights, and one's a
Okay.
Firebird and one's a Camaro. So is it exactly the same? No. Is it related? Yes. Is it really more complicated than anybody really realizes? I think so. I think it's a really complicated thing, and it's changing all the time. So what you think from 2 years ago is not necessarily true in 2026, and what I think I know now in 2026, who knows what's going to be like in 2028. The landscape may be very different by then. So
Right.
yeah, so it's even as somebody who's in the industry and who does this for a living and who talks to folks in China all the time, I still can't tell you exactly where stuff is made and how all the sausage is made. I don't really know, but I know more than the YouTuber guys do.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
and
crazy,
and
huh?
it's well, it's not necessarily that different in. So I used to. I'm a big cigar guy. Kevin can attest to this, but
He
I
he is a big cigar guy, I do attest.
I I toured some tobacco fields when I was 18, and the same place that rolls Rocky Patel's, also the offcuts from those cigars are Swisher Sweets. So, I mean, they're not the same company, but they use the same tobacco. So it's similar vein. But I'm sorry, I had cigars on the brain today.
No, that's a really good analogy, if we take the analogy further, like, when people are like, okay, well, what makes your what makes the other scope, what makes your scope just as good as the other scope, or what makes your scope just as good as the other scope, or what makes this tougher than that, blah blah blah. And at a certain point, you're like, It's kind of like the whole "there are three forges, bro" on AR-15 lowers. At a
Yeah,
certain
that's a good one.
point, 7075 aluminum is 7075 aluminum,
Right.
right? It's
Gotcha.
either 7075 or it's not. Type 3 hard code anodizing is either spec Type 3 or it's not. And the holes are either in the right place or they aren't at the end of the day. So you can pay a ton of money for a Nobeski chainsaw, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, it's in clear ano and I got the drop from, okay, cool. If that's your thing, go
I
for
hate
it.
drop culture
I'm not
so
going to tell
much.
you, I'm not going to tell you not to be that guy with
You
your
shouldn't though.
$500 lower. That's cool. But like, I got a $100 lower that's is it just as good? I don't know, but if the holes are in the right place and it's 7075 and it's Type 3 anodized, you tell me how it's not as good. It's
If
good,
the lower mics, it is good to go. I don't care if
Yeah.
it has got a
it doesn't
pony.
know
Agreed.
what name is
It
on the
doesn't
Agreed.
side.
fucking matter.
It doesn't know what name is on the side. It only
Yeah.
knows if is it in spec or not.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a lot of that too. Like the parts are the parts are the parts.
Right.
And the spec is the spec. Now if you lie about the spec, or you're being shady about the spec, you know, oh, it's aerospace aluminum. Oh, really? Well, what does that mean? Because I bet they use all kinds of different aluminum in aerospace. I bet there's all kinds of different aluminum if you between the SpaceX Starship and Cessna 172. I bet there's all kinds of different aluminum in there.
Yeah, there
So what
was
does that mean? It doesn't
aerospace
mean anything.
stuff and aerospace stuff
Yeah.
in the Challenger too.
Right, right.
That's still not too
So,
soon, right?
yeah, ouch. My second grade has still never recovered.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Terrible. So, you
Jeez.
mentioned that the company existed pre or before it had optics. So what was the, I guess, what started Gideon Optics?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had been so I'll tell you from my end and then also from the ownership's end. So from my end, I had been Swamp Fox Mike, and I'd worked with Swamp Fox from 2019 to 2022. When I started out Swamp Fox, I was employee number 6, but they were already an optics company, and they already had the S-Wing logo and the company name, and they had initial SKUs already figured out, and they had their factory already figured out, and they were rolling. And I came on board in 2019. COVID hit. COVID was a wild ride. Let's not do that again, folks. And then in 2022, my boss called from uh, Swamp Fox and said, "Hey, man, the company's gotten really big," which it had. We were successful. We'd grown quite a bit. And he's like, "It's gotten really big. It's getting really hard to manage." And he's not wrong about that. He's like, "I want to discontinue all the remote work. We're not going to do any more remote stuff. And I want you to move to Denver. We're going to have everybody move to Denver. We're all going to go under one roof. It's going to be a heck of a lot easier to manage." And he wasn't wrong. But also in 2022, I had gotten married that year and had married into a really good situation and got a couple of stepkids out of the thing, and they were doing really good in their school situation, and I didn't really want to move to a blue state from Texas, and so we parted ways. I was like, I'm not going to move. I'm just going to stay where I am. I'll figure it out. Either I'll stay in the industry or I'll go sell insurance or something, figure it out. So I parted ways with Swamp Fox, and that was in the spring of 2022. Well, very soon after that, our esteemed President Joe Biden executive ordered away 80% ghost guns. Remember that? The like the
Mhm.
poly
Yep.
80s?
Yeah.
And he's just, no, I got a pen and I'm going to sign the executive order. Can't do that anymore. So uh, the owner of Gideon Optics is Jordan Vinrow, who owns JSD Supply, and he had done very well selling poly 80 lowers and all of the stuff that you need to build
Okay.
your own knot Glock. So JSD is our parent company and
Okay.
our sort of our sister company. And you'll see if you go to JSD Supply, you can get slides for your knot Glock and all the parts and jigs and stuff, everything except the 80%ers that we can't do anymore. You can still get all the other stuff at JSD Supply, and you can get them with a Gideon Optic already on there, ready to go. So he had already got all that. He had already had that business up and running and quite successfully, but had gotten his knees cut out from him by that executive order. And he's like, I don't want to just give up a big chunk of my business. You know, what can I do that has, decent product margins? They'll make me decent money. That's going to get me off the ATF's radar screen. They're not going to be, nobody's trying to executive order away red dots.
Right.
What's a thing that
Yeah.
I can do to keep my business going? Well, we could try to start an optics company. If only I could find someone with experience in growing optics brands. And there I was, recently unemployed, going, pick me, oh, pick
Hello.
me. Yeah. So I came on
Nice.
board. Yeah, I came on board in the fall of 2022, and then we were like, all right, what are we going to call this thing? You know, um, and so we just started brainstorming ideas and what do we want to do and who can we get to work for us. And I'll tell you a little story real quick. I haven't told this one much, but we knew we wanted to get in the optics business, and so I started cold calling and cold emailing all the factories and people that I knew in the optics business from the previous companies that I worked at. Pull out the Rolodex and start sending guys emails. Hey, I've started a new company along with my friends. Would you like to work with us? Blah, 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 And man, I got left on read like almost 100%. Like, not like I didn't even exist anymore, right? Nothing, nobody. And I'm like, oh, this is really bad. I don't know what we're gonna do. And one Chinese guy remembered me from Swamp Fox, and was like, yeah, I'll give this guy a chance. And he found us and came to us and was like, yeah, I'll work with this guy. He always did what he said he was going to do. And, and Jordan made a very good impression on him, and the whole team did. He's like, all right, well, let's do it. I'm going to build you some stuff. So we start out with that guy, and he's still with us today. And he gave us a chance when nobody else would, right?
Yeah.
We had nothing. We had
Yeah.
a clean slate. And he's like, well, what do you want to make? And I'm like, well, I'd like to do this, and I like to do this, and I like to do this, and then you go down the road, and there's a process to it, right? But I owe that guy a lot. I owe him. This company basically wouldn't exist if that guy didn't give us a chance, right? And I say that because only 3 years down the road, we come to SHOT Show, and I didn't get to see SHOT Show this year. I was stuck in the booth at SHOT, right? I didn't get to walk the show and see all the cool new stuff, and no, none of that. I was stuck in the booth the entire show. Literally was doing a new product interview with a YouTuber in the booth Friday evening as they were tearing down the booth behind me. That's how busy we were. Like, just do one more interview and then get started tearing down the booth. Like, it was that jam packed, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a ton of those guys that I emailed in the fall of 2022 asking, will you do business with me? Now they come to the booth with prototype scopes, with stuff in backpacks, with business cards, with gifts. Give you a little gift, and you open it up and it's a set of Chinese made earbuds for your iPhone or whatever. And they're trying to compel us, will you let us make scopes for you? And I'm super polite about it, and I'm interested. I'm not going to say no categorically. I'm interested in what they're making.
Mhm.
This is business. It's not personal.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, there's a part of me that's like, yo, homie, where were you in 2022 when you left me on read?
Yeah.
I remember I
Right.
emailed you in
Yeah.
2022. Now that we've worked our butts off for 3 years, day in and day out, now you want to come in now that we're successful and people are starting to hear of us. You want to join, you're going to bandwagon it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny how the script flips, but it is satisfying where, the first couple of years you're doing these conversations over and over again. Hi, I'm Mike, and we make scopes. Would you like to look through one? And nobody knows who you are. And then at a
Yeah.
certain point, it flips over, and now people want to do business with us. Now guys are showing up wearing the apparel. Guys are showing up saying, "Oh, I got 5 of these. I got 10,000 rounds through one. It still works." There we go.
Nice.
That's a
Proof
good
proof
feeling.
is in proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like seeing the same guys, at Gun Con and Trigger Con and the NRA, the NRAM show, which will be in Houston this year where I live.
Mhm.
I like seeing guys that I saw the year before that bought like, yeah, I'll give you guys a try for this kind of money. How hard could it be? You know, and they
Right.
bought one a year ago, and they come back and they're like, yeah, man, I got 10 of these things now. I got one on all my Glocks. You know,
Yeah.
that's a good feeling.
Yeah. Well, I love seeing you pop up, especially with Chris. We've had him on the show before, and actually he's going to be on again.
Nice.
His 22 roundup. I see your dots on his on the revolvers, which
Yeah.
much to Kevin's chagrin, dots belong on revolvers and shotguns.
Not on shotguns.
Yes, on
Yes, on
shotguns.
shotguns.
Yes,
Yes,
you
they
are
will
wrong.
fight you.
It's okay to be wrong.
They're not going to convince me. At
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter.
That
You're
you
wrong.
like.
Your opinion doesn't matter. It's okay. It's okay to just not matter. It's fine.
Oh,
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So
I'm even more nerdy than that. I'm actually preaching the gospel of the 1x prism scope on shotguns at this point.
is that so? What? Why that over a dot?
I wouldn't try that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so two things. First of all, I got the tism, which is in this case the astigmatism. I've got in both eyes.
That's not the only one, buddy.
It's not the only one, but in my case, it's astigmatism. And my eyes are turning 50 years old this year, so they're not getting any better. So I still can shoot with pistol dots a lot better than iron sights. Iron sights are terrible for me right now, because these glasses the audience can't see this because, but these are my first set of progressive bifocals. So this is distance up here. The 90% of my glasses is to see a distance like driving, and I can't see my iron sight with that. If I want to see my iron sight, I need to point my chin up at the sky and aim the gun like this, looking through the bottom 10% of these glasses, so I can see the iron sight in front focus. But then, my situational awareness is gone, and B, the target's totally gone because it's a bifocal. It focuses up the thing that's in my hands, like for reading.
Right.
But target area, something that's 25 yards away, forget it. Can't perceive it at all. So I'm really screwed on irons right now with these eyes. A 1x prism scope with an adjustable ocular lens in the back will have a crisp, sharp reticle even for my eyes, no matter what. And the other part of that is, all right, so I'm a big shotguns for home defense kind of guy.
Mhm.
I'm the guy who says, grab a shotgun for home defense when you need to justify everything that you've done to a judge and a jury. Grab the AR and the D60 drum for home defense when no one's ever going to know what happened and you never have to justify anything ever again because
Based.
the nukes have hit and the zombies have come and the ninjas are coming out of the ceiling.
Right.
Right. Okay. Then that's when we grab the AR. But it's much more difficult, legally speaking, to justify 8 projectiles in a guy with an AR versus, oh, I saw this guy in my living room and he was wearing a ski mask and he came at me and he raised his arm and I saw a knife and I pressed the trigger one time and 8 holes went in the guy. Now I have one decision that I have to defend in court about, when did I perceive a lethal threat and how many rounds did I fire? Well, I pressed the trigger one time when I saw a lethal threat. Oh no, he fell down. I guess it's over. And the guy's got 8 rounds in his chest. Just saying. Even with the split times on a nice AR, it's going to be hard to justify 8 shots. So I like shotguns for home defense, but that also means I'm going to run a white light. And a white light, I want all the lumens. Like I want 1250 lumens, if not more, right?
Yeah.
And I can see your guys' walls are painted white in your house. Is there a chance that you can wash out that reticle?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
Well, if it's an etched reticle instead of a red dot, it just changes from the color to black because it's always there.
That's good.
And I can't wash it out with a weapon light. It's almost like I've done classes on this.
Almost.
So that was one thing, is you start playing with the reticle brightness when you're not pumping light out and you're like, oh, it's too bright. And then I have to tell people all the time, the people I talk to are Kevin and Aiden and like one other guy. But
So
like when you actually
3 people.
So 3 people, yeah, with the exception of my wife who has to listen to my nonsense.
4 people, really.
She's not people. She's my person.
Oh,
the small version, obviously.
So
but
romantical.
So it's really interesting. I'll have to. The rifle, because my A300 isn't set up. It's over there and it doesn't have a light on it yet because I haven't gotten a body for the light that I got for it. because there was a really good
'Cause
deal on eBay.
For
You couldn't
shame.
just buy something that works. You had to put it together out of 3
For
different pieces
shame.
that you found on sale.
Listen here. I
Uh-huh.
don't think you understand what happens here.
I have a light
rifles
on
that have
my
been other
shotgun.
rifles.
I don't have
I
a
could-
red dot on, but I do have a light on my shotgun.
I could hit him with the 4570.
Jesus.
But so it's really funny when you look through my rifles or any of the dots in my house, they're like galactically bright. Like you can
Right.
see you can
Because you're
see the
anticipating
reflection in the
using the
bezel.
white
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why my
Mhm.
wife is like, why the fuck are all of these so bright? And I'm like, well, because it washes out.
Yeah.
Everything washes out.
Yeah.
And
And-
if you don't test it with the white light in pitch black, it won't work. You won't see it. It's completely useless.
Yeah.
You just have a tube.
You know, I've
So-
run into the issue where I've adjusted my handgun dot, like when I'm like dry firing and stuff, and I'll go to the range and like bronze, I'm like, oh wow, this is like totally not bright enough, and then vice
Yeah.
versa. So I get slightly similar.
I'll be honest, fellas. Like so I've got my carry guns right here, but I my 2 primary carry guns, I run a PDP compact Walther, and then if I'm feeling fat that day and I need something slimmer,
Fat
like
and
I'm
sassy.
fat, if I need something that's easier to hide than the Walther, mostly because of how clothing fits or whatever, then I've got a Glock 48 with a little Judge 2 on it, so a little slimline. But I run both of those at daylight bright, even at nighttime. I'd rather have
Yeah.
to deal with it being, and the truth is, all right. So when we're talking about a defensive situation, oh no, somebody's surprised me in the parking lot of the Texas Roadhouse as I get done with dinner, whatever your tactical fantasy is. But it's going to happen really fast. Draw to first shot time is probably going to come into play. It's going to be over really quick. And I am probably going to, I'll be taken by surprise. I'm not anticipating getting into the first shooting in my life doing this. And probably what's going to happen is that when I see a reticle at all, I'm breaking off shots with the pistol dot.
Yeah.
So like, it's not going to be a picky thing. Or I always imagine, you guys remember the old Wayne's World movie where they're playing hockey in the street,
Yes.
and they're playing hockey in the street, and they're like, car, and then they have to like get out of the street. The car goes by.
Yeah.
Game on. You remember that? I always
Yeah.
imagine that guys that are super picky and anal about this stuff are gonna like tell the bad guy that's driving them, oh wait, could you hold up just for a second? I need to push a button here, and I need to
Right.
right, or I need to activate my laser. I got this cool Viridian laser on my let me hit the
Laser.
button. Yeah. Like you don't have time for any of that. It's gonna be super quick. I do suggest using your sights. I'm not a point shooting guy, and I've got a video on YouTube about point shooting that went hilariously bad, called "Do You Really Need a Pistol Dot?" And I do some point shooting, I do some iron sight shooting, and I do some dot shooting, and it's just a comparison of like speed and accuracy, right? But I actually like do the whole cowboy thing with a 6-shooter 45 long Colt from the hip.
Yeah.
I'm Alan Ladd and Shane in 1952 or whatever, and it's terrible. It's so freaking awful. I fired like 40 rounds and hit 3 times or something like that.
Well,
Do you know
at least
John
hit 3
Johnston?
times.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know John. I've trained with John.
Okay, so one of his old YouTube videos was about point shooting. And I love the second version of that. He's like, I think everybody's misunderstanding what point shooting is. And I think that is the most hilarious like illustration of point shooting ever. And then
Yeah.
unfortunately his skill is so good that when he's shooting without irons, he does too good of a job.
Oh, it's
But-
yeah. Well, because when you get to a certain point, when you get to a certain skill level, which I'm not at and John is at,
Yeah.
the sights become sort of an alignment confirmation tool.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they're sort of like the sights are telling you that everything else is going to plan and nothing's sort of fallen off the rails, and it's time to
Yeah.
go, 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 go. And when you actually notice the sights doing something different, that's when you slow down and you have to make a correction. But John's already like 6 shots into the bill drill before that ever happens.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam. Whoa, so Yeah, so there's different skill levels to this. So some people kind of get led by the sights, and they're looking through the sights, and they're making aiming corrections with the sights. And then once you've done as many reps and as much training as John has, then you're on a whole different level.
Right.
Yeah. It's the same thing with triggers. Like I'm a little bit of a trigger snob still. I mean, I run a snubby as a second gun, so I've got like a 11-pound double action only gun that I do practice with, and I like a nice 1911 trigger or whatever. But guys like John Johnston, Caleb Giddings is another one.
Hmm.
Dude,
Yeah.
Caleb could show up with a stupid $300 Taurus 6-shooter revolver and whoop my butt
I've seen
with
that
any
Bianchi
trigger you
footage.
can name. With you know what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
can give me like a $250 drop in, nice aftermarket trigger in a 2011. Caleb Giddings gonna whoop my butt with a stupid Taurus. That's just
Right.
he's done the work.
His little
There's
drop
no
gun.
substitute for doing the work.
Yeah.
And I love optics, but like, yeah, optics are not a magic wand either. Like, this is not going to automatically make you John Wick because you put a green dot with a big window on your gun. It's not. You got to go to the range, throw live rounds down range.
So
Yeah.
where does a big window come in for you then? Because obviously you guys have normal size windows and the competition fucking massive ones. So
Mhm.
when does that become advantageous?
So, well, again, again, I mean, it depends on your skill level and what you're doing. So it depends. So let's talk about how it depends. So I love big windows. I like a big forgiving window. Um, but the problem is that they're harder to hide.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
we have
that's
a
fair.
series called Granite, um, and we have Granite Comp, which is a massive big honkin' window. So for those of you who don't know Gideon Optics, think about something like a Holosun 507 Comp. This sucker's like a big screen TV sitting on top of your slide. It's a chonk, right?
Okay.
Um, but it is one of the only, usually when I conceal, like with my PDP compact, it's got the Omega on it, which is very similar to an SRO. It's sort of the SRO that we have at home. I didn't want to spend $600 on one, so we made a $200 one.
Nice.
It's not exactly the same. We didn't rip off Trigicom, but it's an homage, right? It's a big round window, right? Well, I
Yeah.
can still hide that big round window really easily, and the thing that gives me away if I'm going to print with the Walther is the grip. If
Right.
I put Granite Comp on the same gun, the optic itself is going to give me away. People are going to be like,
Had
"What
that
is that?
problem with
What is?"
acros.
Mm,
Yeah, the Doom Toaster, right? Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
one with the Mediator 2. I was talking about the
yeah.
Mediator earlier. We came out with one later called Mediator 2, which is very much our own design. Nobody else has anything that's similar to it right now.
That's with
Uh,
the battery on the top.
right, it's inverted.
Okay.
The thing
Right.
that's closest to is the Steiner MPX because it's inverted the same way the Steiner is. It's an
Okay.
upside down
Interesting.
red dot, so the emitter's at the top shooting down. It's
What? That's
mhm.
cool.
Yeah, which then allows you to shift the whole thing down so the deck height is lower and hopefully you don't have to have super tall sights to co-witness with it. But anyway, we're tangenting. Imagine that,
Interesting.
boys. But
It never
so
happens here.
I want a big window, as big a window as I can get, and it depends on what am I doing. So like the Mediator 2 has a big window for an acro footprint dot. The acro window is actually ridiculously small. It's like 16 millimeters by 16 millimeters, right? So so
I also
um
don't have one for a reason anymore.
right. So I I like fully enclosed stuff, but I
Yeah.
want a bigger window than that. But then again, you get to a point of diminishing returns. So like with the granites, we have granite comp and granite carry. Carry version is small enough that you can actually hide it. The comp version is big enough that you're not going to really be able to hide it. I have shot the same Gen 5 Glock 19 with both optics when we were doing testing on these things. And
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
also my favorite part of the job is getting all the prototype scopes and going out and putting live rounds to them and testing them. And no, nobody else gets to do that. It's only me. Um, I always have guys that are like, "Hey, will you send me one for T and me?" And no, I'm not sending one for T and E. I want a T and E, and I want to shoot that sucker. Um, But I have put the carry and the comp through like swapping them out on the same slide on the same day and shooting the FBI qual with both, right? And
Yeah.
the timer says for me, no appreciable difference. Like
Interesting.
yeah, because I've done this enough now, because it is my job and I don't suck and I try really hard. I work on skills. I don't need that extra large window for the kind of shooting that I'm doing for an FBI qual. And the FBI
Right.
qual, that extra window size is not effectively making me any faster.
Okay.
But in competition, you have, of course, your local guy that's running your stages who's always trying to screw you up.
Yeah.
And so he's making you shoot from all these weird positions. We're going to run the VTAC barrier, and he's going to make a target that's just around the corner enough that you got to kind of stand on one foot and lean over, and
And you
right,
barely can see it
right,
in
and
the
you can barely,
window.
right, and he's
Yeah.
he's trying to trick you into putting your foot someplace where it's not supposed to be,
Yeah.
right? So in that circumstance, when you're running a competition, then I'm like, yeah, we have the biggest window we can, put a TV on there, because
Right.
I need as much forgiveness as I can, because the gun's going to be put, and I'm going to be put in really awkward shooting positions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's when a giant window is what you want for competition. And
Right.
also we're not shooting from concealment here. So who cares? And then the same thing, like if it's a home defense gun, I'm like, do the competition window. Get the biggest, because you're not trying to hide it. It's sitting in the sock drawer or whatever.
Right.
So get the
Yeah,
biggest
that's
window you
fair.
can, because when something goes crash in the middle of the night, and you grab this sucker and the shake awake comes on and your illumination turns on, you need all the help you can get, right? Because this is not a happy thing. Your heart's going to be in your throat, and you're going to be running about 160 beats per minute. That doesn't sound like a fun time to me. I need every advantage I can get if I'm not trying to hide the thing. Can I show you
Yeah.
guys
Right.
something cool? Can I show you guys something cool
Yeah,
that
please
the
do.
the audience can't see it yet, but they will soon, because it's actually going to get launched. So this is prototype.
Ooh.
He reaches into his safe that's off screen. So this
Floodlight.
is a TSOS Gen 3 PX9. This thing is a honey. It is factory comped.
Mm-hmm.
See that?
Yeah.
It's got a very nice Walther, sort of like a Q5 match type trigger on there.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
Oh.
it's
blue
nice.
too.
Yeah, it's blue, so it's got to be a match trigger because it's
There
anodized
you
blue.
go.
I
Yeah.
mean, like it's funny the little wolf whistles that we have in this industry, right? Grip's kind of like an HK, where I have replaceable side panels and back
Right.
panel,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But what's on it is a fully enclosed on the RMR footprint
No
that takes
shit.
regular screws. Because Trijicon has their $1,000 fully enclosed that has the capstan thing,
Standard. Yeah.
Yeah.
which they very proudly patented and said they would sue anybody who did that. And I'm sort of like, you can have that, homie. I don't need that.
My stiletto has those, and those are
Yeah.
a pain in the dick. I don't
So
like
what's
those.
what's the torque spec on that? How do you measure your torque spec when you put a stick in it and turn
They
it?
give you this really gay graph, and it's like, oh yes, I'm trusting you to hold the same tolerances through every single screw you don't make. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
Sorry.
not to bag on Trijicon. They're amazing. They're amazing products, and they're who we all want to be. But we didn't want to mess with that. So we have regular screws here. We've got a big honkin' 2032 battery that's on the side, but
I love that.
this is still small enough to be concealable, right? It's not giant, huge, big chunkus, and it's fully enclosed. And then I'm going to show you. Oh yeah, it's on. So look at the window size in this thing, though. You actually see my ring camera through it.
That is edge to edge.
Jesus. Wow. That's amazing.
There we go. So this is what I like. I like
Interesting.
fully enclosed. It's got enough metal around it to be tough. It's going to pass your drop test stuff. Your Billy Joe Bob Outfitters YouTube torture test channel. He can throw it
Yeah.
off the deck of the
Sage
backyard,
Dynamics
and it'll be
style.
fine.
Drag it behind this truck that barely runs.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
Whenever I accidentally drop anything, like if I drop a fork in the kitchen, I'll go train accordingly. My wife knows what it means.
Train
Accordingly. Drop stuff. But anyway, so this is Valor. and it's going
Wow.
to drop, I think, at the end of the month. It should be, I hope, under 3 Benjamins.
Okay.
Made
That's
in
pretty
China
compelling.
and imported by us, but we had Valor Mini, which is on the RMSC footprint, for about the
Right.
last year, and we've sold a bushel of them, and people love those. My wife's got one on her carry gun, but the big one took longer to develop. So we had Valor Mini for a year without Valor Not Mini, and this is actually Valor Not Mini. But this here, to me, I would rather have this than the Acro footprint Doom Toaster, because it's
Right.
a much
Interesting.
bigger window, but it's still super tough and fully enclosed, and it's easier to hide. What's not to like?
Right. Well, that was definitely a problem I had with the Acros. Is I'd end up like this little like tent at the belt,
Yes.
right about my belt line. It's like, oh, I wonder whatever that could be.
It's a pager. Not in
Yeah,
2026, it's not.
I know, right?
I mean,
Nobody's falling for that anymore, guys.
I went
it
through the
could be.
Filster the Filster workshop to see how many people got like creative with how they concealed those big dots, and these people have more. I mean, everybody's got different bodies, but no matter the body style, they're like, look, it disappears. And I just see like a little thing in the, like right where the belt line is. I'm like, no, it didn't.
Yeah, well,
It's,
and that's a whole other conversation too, because like
Yeah.
I'll be honest. First of all, I got a concealed carry permit. My wife and I teach people to shoot, and we teach the concealed carry class. I know what all the rules and laws are. I'm down in Texas. I'm in Houston. It's extremely permissive here. I
mm,
mean, I can open carry a AR over my shoulder if I want to be one of those guys, which I'm not. I'm
yeah,
not an open carry guy, but you do see them down here. Guys will
yeah,
open carry, their stuff. Um, I'm not that guy. I don't want them to see me coming.
yeah,
Um, and I don't think of it as a political statement. I'm not trying to impress anybody by the fact that I own a pistol. Nobody needs to
right.
know I have a gun until everybody needs to know I have a gun. That's the way that I look at it.
Exactly.
That is
But
the way to look at it.
yeah, I can get away with printing heinously here, and there's no legal repercussions for me in Texas.
Right.
I go to the grocery store, I go to the gas station, I can go anywhere except like the post office, right? But all those regular places, I could go and I could be printing horribly and get made all the time, and nothing would happen, right? So I've pushed it. I've carried HK VP9 with the mediator on it, and just to see, are people looking? Are they glancing at me? What's going on? Man, everybody's got their face in their phones these days. They don't know, and maybe I'm just a gray man. I'm a gray man. Maybe I'm just a guy that I'm not a very noticeable person. I'm not someone
Yeah.
that stands out. Um, but on the one hand, like nobody notices, but then I talk to my cop friends, and guys like John Johnston, or you mentioned Filster, John Hopman, the guys that are really, really clued in and that really know what's going on, and they're like, yeah, but it's not all the normal people you care
Mm-mm.
about. It's that less than 1% of guys who are switched on, who have got 3 felony warrants out, that have
Right.
seen the elephant, that are thinking about doing something sketch, and those guys are looking for who's going to
Yeah.
stand up and fight against them when they pop off. Maybe those are the guys I need to be worried about when I'm advertising unwittingly
Right.
that exactly where my gun is
Well,
and how to get to it.
Tom Givens talks about that. I mean, he's like, this is their job. Their job is to figure out who they can victimize and who they
Yeah.
can take stuff from.
Exactly.
And if they know they know what to look for. They know how to conceal a gun. Like you see the videos of dudes with like 16-inch barrel fucking rifles in their pants. Like, I mean,
Insane.
they do this for a living.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, I mean that
Or
is
or
exactly
or
that
they
is the
do it
best
to
way to look
live.
at that. You're not trying to hide yourself from Tom, Dick, and Joe, like everybody else. You're hiding from the person that you need the gun for specifically,
Yeah.
explicitly. So that's a great way to.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
great
it's kind
point.
of like the old spy movies where like everybody's sort of living their own lives, but then the spies recognize each other from across the room.
Yeah.
Like because of the trade craft or whatever.
Right.
It's kind of like that, I think.
Yeah.
There's an unspoken culture here that has to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
And
Well,
also,
it's
you
it,
mentioned Tom. My wife and I will both be at TACCon at the end of the month. So we trained with Tom. We try to train with Tom at least once a year. And the worst thing about Rangemaster is explaining to people what Rangemaster is. But
yeah,
when I grow up one day, I want to be Tom freaking Givens.
I know it.
He's
Right
who I,
on.
and honestly, like he's my Jiminy Cricket, dude. Like I will want to be a complete ass to somebody on Facebook or something, and literally it'll almost be like Tom Givens is. If Tom Givens was over my shoulder, would I write that and hit enter? You know, if Tom Givens was looking over my shoulder, would I make that comment on Facebook? Oh, I guess I wouldn't. Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of funny. Like I admire that man very, very
Yeah.
much.
I remember I was at the class like because he moved down here right after I trained with him the first time, and so I got to go to his first class and hear his rationale behind 40 because he was still shooting 40 out of a Glock 35 for God, Lord knows how long, and then he switched to the Glock 19, which bummed me out, but that's okay.
Dude's
But
running the M&P now.
is he
He
really?
run, yeah. He's like,
No shit.
let me tell you something. For those of you in the audience that have no idea who Tom Givens is, Tom Givens is
Unfuck
the
your shit.
head. Yeah, Tom Givens is the head of
Mm.
Rangemaster. Rangemaster is basically the hardest civilian type certification you can get. It's a very expensive class. You need to be able to shoot an FBI qual at instructor level cold before you even come in the door on this to stand a chance. And not everybody will get the certification. All right, so I took the class and not everybody walked out happy. Okay, so he's not training to pass everybody and everybody feels good. He has a
I had
standard
my
you'll either meet.
Rangemaster knife.
Yeah, you'll either meet the standard or you won't, and it's a high standard, okay?
Yeah.
Um
And it's in the
and
morning. He tells
and
you don't drink. He's like, you're gonna fuck up. Don't come hungover, man. We're doing
oh,
this shit cold.
that's
And
right.
he's not
You
fucking around.
hey, performance on demand is the
Yeah.
only performance that matters. I don't care how good you are once you've been warmed up for an hour.
Hell
That's
yeah,
not
Yeah.
how
man.
it
Yeah,
works,
that's fair.
right? So, but anyway, Tom, when you're done with class and we all go to the Mexican restaurant to have a big chonkus burrito after the class is over, you know what happened? I'm not making this up. This is literally what happened. I sat with my back facing the door because Tom Givens got the tactical seat looking at the front door. And my wife and I agreed that if anything went
If
wrong,
anybody.
we were going to sit there and not move while this 72-year-old man cleaned house.
Yeah.
Because
Awesome.
he's clearly at 72 years old, the most dangerous man in the room. Do I have your
I
attention?
I can't I mean the class I've been through his instructor classes and I think the most sobering thing is the active calls that he plays right before you go do live fire. And
That's right.
those are incredibly effective. I mean, he's talking about like, hey, these are the people you're defending yourself against, right? I mean,
They are not like us.
no,
Yeah.
it changes you fundamentally because you go from going to Publix and grabbing a sandwich to, oh, that guy looked at me a little funny on the street, and then it's like you go to these classes and one of the first videos he plays is a cop getting domed very, very graphically, and then another is there is a 911 call, which is
I remember
very
that one.
upsetting.
I know the one that you're talking about. Let's
Yeah,
not
those are
talk
pretty
about that one.
rough.
Very rough. Yes.
And then he gives you the
Mm.
backstory on it,
hmm
and it's just I
Do I
whew.
have your attention? Are we taking this seriously yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I've done a fair bit of training. I've gone to a fair bit of classes. I've seen a bunch of different instructors, but the way he contextualizes shooting and what shootings are and how he tracks his students shootings, and I mean that's a massive resource. I just realized this massive tangent, but the app the actual raw data that he has from shootings is immense. I mean,
So
you can
how,
disagree or agree with certain things that he says, but the on paper facts are backed up, and it's impressive.
it just blows my mind that he's taught enough people over enough years that he has a scoreboard of, well, yeah, I've had 77 former students get into defensive shooting. And I'm like, wait, what? Well, yeah, man, out of all the people that he's taught,
Yeah, and he
for
interviews
the
them. I
last
mean,
30 years.
with the exception of the 2 forfeits, he
No, 2
says if you
forfeits.
don't bring your gun, it's a forfeit.
That's
I
right,
think there's
'cause
2 still, but
yeah. So, but let me bring this tangent back around to something that is actually optics related, because um, people ask me sometimes why I'm in the budget optics space. How come? I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years. Why don't I go work for Aimpoint? Why don't I go work for Trichicon? Well, first of all, they haven't called, so there's that.
that's fair.
They don't need me, but I'm okay with that. I I believe in the Second Amendment so much that I want to see as many law-abiding, good, decent Americans armed and trained as I possibly can, and I'm willing to dedicate what's left of my life to that. That goes right to the core of who I am, guys. There's nothing you can say that will piss me off worse than stop being poor. I am known for shooting poor boy guns with poor boy optics. I showed you guys that prototype's on a TSOS, right? If it's only the rich guys, which is how the third world works, right? In the
Right.
third world, they
Yeah.
have all these gun control laws, and the guys that are the Hollywood type guys in the third world that are rich and connected, that are the politicians and the politicians' families and the industrialists and the people that know people, they have their own set of rules that they just don't enforce them. They just look the other way, like, kind of like Terran Tactical, and they're in California, but he's got unlimited money, so he can do whatever he wants. Nobody cares. Well,
Yeah.
how does he get all those high capacity magazines there? Oh, we don't talk about that, right? That's the way it is in the third world. And those guys have all of the HKs, and they've got machine guns, and they've got bodyguards, and they've got all sorts of cool stuff that the ordinary person can't afford and can't get away with. And everybody else is just boned. You're just at the mercy of the criminal element down there, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
America is awesome because you can be a regular dude working for the weekend at your regular job that maybe not doesn't pay that good, trying to set aside something for retirement, trying to set aside something so your kids can go to college, trying to make payments on that Ford F-150, and you can buy a Ruger RXM, you can buy a Stoger, you can buy a T-Sauce. You can buy something that, you can buy a used Glock off of Gunbroker, and it's not that expensive. You can get a $200 to $300 Chinese-made optic. Please make it a Gideon, but if you don't, that's okay. And you can be effective. You can save your life. You can save your children. You can save your family if you get out of the house and do some work and throw some live rounds downrange and take it seriously. You have the right in this country to stand up against the bad guys. You guys know how unique that is, how special that is, and how fragile that is. That we get to do that. Nobody else gets to do that. Name one other country where I can go and conceal carry a Walther or an Echelon. And if anybody tries to take my life, I'm taking theirs first.
Yeah.
Man, you name it. It's a short list, boys.
Right.
Yeah.
I do this because I want these optics to be affordable for as many people as possible, and this is not Tinker Toy baby's first red dot airsoft crap that we're making. This is carry it, train with it, use it. I mean, my attitude is that each one of these optics could save the life of the user. It is not
Yeah.
something that it's just like, oh, well, put it on your kid's 22 because it's not for real. No, Gideon Optics is for real. We mean this stuff. Oh, that was really good. I should like record
And
that and make an actual ad out of it.
I love the sentiment. Yeah. It's like
Well,
a
I get
I'm
excited
glad we
about this
got you
stuff.
on because I've heard little blurbs of kind of your I guess your philosophy here and there, but that was a very succinct, very condensed.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
that's where
got
my heart is. It
I
really
got
well,
a
is.
tickle in my
it's
pickle from it.
well, I got to tell you, it's nice to see that you from the company are training and you're trying these optics out because I mean, on the face, that is what it looks like. Is it's like, oh well, they're just like the Chinese optics, you know. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, well, whatever, but
Chinesium. Yeah.
yeah, it's nice to see that you're the one testing these things. You're going to classes. And I mean, that's not as common as I think people want to believe it is.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so there's a joke about SHOT Show. I've mentioned SHOT Show a couple times in this podcast. There's a joke about SHOT Show that I think you guys will appreciate. So there's only two kinds of guy that go to SHOT Show. The first guy is the gun nut who knows nothing about business, and that's me. I'm the gun nut who's just trying to figure out how the business part of it works. The second guy, is the businessman who knows nothing about guns.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's
And if
100%
you've been to
true.
the show,
Yeah.
you know these
Yeah.
guys, they're Lean Six Sigma certified and they've got experience selling refrigerators or whatever, and then they're like, "Hey, I got a job working for such and such outdoor company and it's going to be
That's
great."
so funny.
And dude, they don't know the hardware at all, and they don't know the culture,
Yeah.
they don't know the
No.
people, right? And I'm like, "Man, like you better immerse yourself in the culture."
Yeah.
Because it's not like selling tires or mattresses. Selling gun
There's
stuff
so
is
much
it's
to
its
it.
own thing, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not the same. I don't think you can be a mattress salesman and then come and try to sell pistols for Beretta and you better go to the range and shoot. You're not going to be a success unless you're using the product, you're doing the thing. I used to sell Harley Davidsons in another life. Nobody buys a Harley from a guy that takes the subway to work. You better be a biker.
I
Yeah.
love that.
You
That's
know what I mean?
absolutely true.
We have a bit of an inside joke that the trade or some of the events that we go to, I don't like the marketing guys. I don't typically like, or maybe not in the marketing, because actually I've this lovely trend of marketing guys that are shooting, like Caleb Giddings, is kind of nice. So that's maybe changing a little bit, but show me to the
Yeah.
engineer. Like I want to
Yeah.
talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about,
He really
because you get this
he sniffs them
veneer.
out. He's almost like a hound dog, you know? He'll sniff them out immediately.
They all look the same. All the engineers look the same. They're in the corner. They don't want to be there. And like they
Yep.
just got dragged along just
Yep.
in case
They're
somebody
wearing a
asks
suit and a
good
tie and they
question.
hate every minute of it. Or
Yep,
they're wearing a
yep.
polo shirt and the polo shirt screams, "I did not choose this. It was chosen by my boss."
I
Yep.
was told to wear this.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't talk to people.
Brace,
Why
Brace
am I
gives
here?
right to them, and they're like, "Oh, don't talk to me. Talk to that other guy." He's like, "No. I want to
we're
talk to
talking.
you."
I'm talking
then-
to you.
And then they go, "Really?" And then they light
Yeah.
up.
But
No, like, and then so I'm not an engineer. I wish I was. But I'm not. I'm not like an optical engineer. I wish I was. But part of what I do for Gideon is, if I may, I am a conduit between the engineers and I do enough shooting to where I know what real shooters want. I may not be a competition winner, but I know what we need for a competition optic.
right.
I may not be a sponsored hunter, but I've gone hog hunting. I've slayed hogs. I know what it takes to knock hogs down.
You're
right?
aware
Like,
of what
Yeah.
people want.
I'm aware of what what works and what doesn't work out there. I do just enough of it to not suck and to understand the priorities. And every once in a while, I will see products out there, and I'm gonna be nice and not name them, but there's like 3 that are circling around in my mind, like but you will see sometimes products that have neat engineering, but they don't know who to sell it to, and nobody really asked for it. And some engineer thought it was a good idea, and they're like, "Cool, we can do the thing. Let's do the thing." And it's like, okay, but who needs that? Who's going to use that?
Right.
In the optics world, you'll sometimes see the marketing will be like, "It's the amazing do-it-all scope for everybody. It's the best scope for you. It's the best scope for an AR-15." And I'm like, that means they have no idea who to sell it to.
Yep.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
They came up with the doohickey, and then they're like, "Put it on your AR," because everybody has an AR.
Yeah.
But it's like, well,
Well-
what is it?
You know, it was interesting before you came on and we had all of our faps because my studio decided it didn't like us. I was looking at your enclosed rifle dot, and there were a lot of design choices on it that I thought were way more well thought out than I think they had any right to be.
Well, thank you.
because
Are you talking about
it's
the Mediator XL, the big chunk?
yes, I am.
The big
So
chunk.
it it has a lot of that was a kind of a ham-fisted way to talk about that, but I mean, if we're talking about design, oh, that's actually the thing that it has pictures of.
Yes,
Oh, that's
that's the
fun.
thing. Oh wow,
That's the thing. I like
I've
that.
that's
already got
cool.
one. It's very
So
nice.
I liked the transverse battery. I liked the shell. I liked that it's enclosed. I liked the optic height. I thought it was really it looked like somebody that used a rifle was like, "Hey, these are the things that I want on the gun." Because there's a lot of enclosed dots. I'm not naming things, but like that don't make a lot of fucking sense, especially battery size. I don't know why I like the battery choice. I like the
Thank you.
transverse mount. It's like it looks like what I want an EOTech or what Kevin wants an EOTech to be.
I
Basically,
would run that over a fucking EOTech.
Kevin hates
So
EOTechs.
I fucking
so
hate EOTechs.
literally, guys, I'll tell you the story about this. So what we're talking about is Mediator XL for extra chonker. Um, it's big, it's huge, right? It's a really big dot. So
LCO
we
size. It's not that crazy.
we had a conversation. So this is a while back because it takes a while to like prove these things out and make them and everything.
Right.
And the conversation was, hey guys, we should do a rifle dot. We have all these pistol dots. We have a 1X prism that works on rifles and shotguns and stuff. And then we have some LPVOs. We don't have a rifle dot. So like there's a gap in our product line, right? There's something that every other optics company has a rifle dot. We don't. What's wrong with us, right? So we need to do rifle dot. And I remember I said specifically, I'll take the credit on this one. I was like, that's fine. That's awesome. We're not doing a T1, T2 micro dot. We're not.
Yeah.
Because I can't throw a rock without hitting a Chinese-made $100 T1 clone that works just fine and does red dot stuff. So this is like
Yep.
it's the most crowded market ever. It's absolutely saturated. The last thing that the market needs and that anybody's asked for, again, what are people asking for? What do they want? Is anybody asking for another cheap micro dot? No. Why are we going to do that? Let's not do that.
Right.
Well, fine, Mike. What do you want then? You know what I want? I want an EOTech or like a Sig Romeo 8T,
Yep.
big battle dot, but I don't
Yep.
want to be $700. Can we do
Yeah.
that? You know, and they're like, well, okay. So like, okay, so well, how big of a window do you want? Yes.
Yes.
That's the right
Yes.
answer.
Yeah. I mean,
Indeed.
because again, like if I don't have to hide it, why not get the biggest window possible, you know, for a
Right.
battle dot, right?
Yeah.
So they wound up doing this window, which is like significantly bigger than an EOTech or a
Yeah.
Holosun AEMS. It's a massive window. And I'm like, the first time I saw it, I've got like 5 prototypes at the house. So it's gone through a lot of iterations before we came up. This is actually a production one. It's my only production one that I have. I've got like 5 prototypes. The first time I saw the first prototype, I laughed uncontrollably, like maniacally, like mad scientist laughter, because to see it in real life and see how big the window was, I was like,
Right.
oh my gosh, people aren't gonna know what to do with this, you know. And that one didn't have the anti-reflection device on the front. Didn't have the cage. It was just like a bare. It's what we call a neutral sample. It was just proof of concept. Will this thing work?
Right.
Right? It didn't even have the
Okay.
right reticle in it yet. It was a placeholder reticle because they didn't have the emitter yet. But you know, you do it in stages, right? The reason why we went so first of all, yeah, the Traverse battery is smarter because it doesn't shake itself to death. But we went with the CR123A because, drum roll please, I can get weapon-rated CR123As from Surefire and Streamlight that are shock resistant, which is something I still can't
Yep.
do with pistol dots, which drives me crazy. Somebody get me in touch with Duracell so I can say, hey guys, not all of these batteries are going into grandpa's hearing aid. Sometimes when you make a crappy battery and it only has 3 weeks of battery life in it, and I put it into it's not even a Gideon Optics thing, it's any of these optics,
Yep.
right? And it conks out in 3 weeks when it was supposed to go 5 years. Like that could be in a cop's holster and he could be under attack, draw his gun and have no idea that his battery conked out because you're making 10,000 of these things a day. I will pay extra for one with higher quality control where I know it has a certain amount of juice in it.
Yep.
Someone please hear my plea. Put me in touch with a battery maker so we can tell them to make weapon-rated coin batteries. But at least for a 123A, we have that. So why wouldn't
That
we
was
do
the
that?
that was the biggest thing. I mean, I love a lot
Yeah.
of a lot of things on this, but Kevin and I were literally just talking about, man, I
It
like the
is
choice
that
because I
is
can get dedicated batteries.
yeah, that's definitely perfect.
So, and I'll tell it again, like all the SHOT Show stories are coming out. Let me make sure this thing's unloaded. Yep. Um, all the SHOT Show stories. So when we developed this, which took over a year, one of the things that was a priority for me was I wanted it to be night vision compatible, like really, really, really night vision compatible. Not just so we can put a couple of bullet points in the user manual and, in the spec sheet, night vision compatible, yay! No, like really, really seriously, let's take it seriously because night vision guys always want a giant window for passive aiming, right? Um,
Yep.
so my night vision guy of choice is Nick Chen. I don't know if you guys know who Nick is, but Nick
Mm-mm.
Nick has all the toys.
Okay.
And we send him optics and say, hey, what do you think of this through night vision? And his answer is always, it depends, because now there's lots of different layers of night vision. So if I have like a 1990 spec PVS-7, this is going to look different through it than if I have a brand new helicopter spec white phosphorus dual tube $17,000 setup, right? It's
Yeah.
not right. So
Yeah.
so I can have multiple settings in this, but like the question is, does it work well with multiple night vision setups, which requires somebody that has all of them to look through it? And my choice on that somebody is Nick. Maybe he'll hear this. And so Nick and a couple of other guys have said that this is incredibly crisp through night vision, which hooray, we have accomplished our mission there. And that was one of my big priorities, was that this was going to be awesome to passive aim with goggles on your helmet. But then I got to SHOT Show, and we had, over the course of the whole week, half a dozen cops make orders with us and get excited about this, not because of night vision, but because they need it for less lethal. Because the
Oh,
big thing in law
interesting.
enforcement right now is there's lots of worry about protests going wrong. Can't
Right.
imagine why they'd be worried about that right now.
Who knows?
Protesters going off the handle, going off the hook, getting crazy, trying to draw out a crazy reaction. And you have too many cops that are like a light switch, because we don't really go hands on anymore. Because
Right.
it's, you don't want footage of the cops kicking that guy's ass like Rodney King. So now
Yeah.
we've trained our cops to be like a light switch. I'm helpless, I'm helpless, I'm helpless, I'm lethal.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
problem. So there's all this stuff that the cops are trying to figure out less lethal solutions. So when this guy is trying to do suicide by cop
Mm.
on and go viral, and he's, trying to run over somebody with a car, he's standing in the middle of the street going, shoot me, you jerk, shoot me.
Mm.
You can shoot him with a 37 millimeter. You can shoot him with a pepper ball or something like that. You can shoot him with a gas canister. But that means wearing a gas mask. They're doing a lot of gas mask work. And what's the problem with wearing a gas mask? You can't aim anything because you can't see your
Right.
sights.
You can't see.
What if you had a giant window?
In comes
Yeah.
Gideon Optics with the
Right.
solution.
And you can run it like this,
That's
canted.
interesting. Yeah.
Right. So all of a sudden, it's funny. We all have blind spots. So I helped develop this optic for over a year. Didn't think about gas masks or 37 millimeter bloop guns even one time.
Right.
Come to SHOT Show, and it's like all these cops, the light bulbs going off over their head, going, "This would be great for my less
Perfect.
lethal stuff." Yeah. And then we don't get on the news for having to kill some poor guy. We
Yeah.
just, make him cough some gas a little bit, and then we put him into custody, and nobody even cares.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I-
crazy, huh?
That's a really interesting
it's interesting.
side
So
effect. Yeah.
I was looking at your just in terms of design and stuff that I like on this dot is the button choice. Just the button layout, it's shrouded, so I'm not going to knock it when I sling my gun, which is
Yep.
perfect. The buttons are fuck you big, so I can feel them with my numb
Yeah.
fingers.
What if I'm a cop and I got to do all this in gloves?
And
Yeah.
that's my next thing was, I mean, that's genuinely, these are things I was
I would
saying.
I'm gonna save. I really am gonna save up. I think I might try it because I hate EOTechs with a fucking
Yeah,
passion.
he really doesn't like you.
Well,
We've got a
okay.
we got a
EOTechs are
selectable
huge.
reticle in here.
The
I actually
batteries suck
like.
in EOTechs. At least the battery's gonna last to that fucking thing.
Does this have a shake away?
Yeah, so I set it down, and then so the shake awake's set at 225 seconds, but there's a little give and take in there. It's not always perfect. So somewhere around 4 minutes later, it's going to fall asleep, and
Okay.
it's basically a
Okay.
tilt switch. So while it's asleep, it doesn't draw any power to power the sleep mode. So it can literally sit for 6 months, and at that point, while it's in shake awake mode, you're basically just draining the shelf life of the battery as if it was in the bubble packaging sitting at Home Depot.
Oh, that's
The
really
same
cool.
Right.
same basic thing. It's
Okay.
dying at the same rate as if it was just sitting on the shelf.
No parasitic drain.
Right. And
Okay.
then there's no parasitic drain at all. And then when I pick it up, the tilt switch is like, oh, I'm moving. And it goes back to your previously selected brightness level, whatever that was. We have 10 brightness levels. The bottom 2 are the night vision ones, and then we've got 8 that are visible to the naked eye, and then like the last 2 are the big jump to trying to make it as daylight bright as we can. One of the things that I've been harping on for ever since we started this thing was making the optics brighter. I want them to be as bright as possible. I want people to. This thing has 10 settings in it for a reason. So, I want people to do what happened a lot at SHOT, actually, was people would crank it all the way up and then they'd leave it. And the next guy would pick it up and go, oh, dang, yeah, and then they'd turn it down a couple
That's
of
what
notches.
you want, though.
Yeah. I want it to be so bright at max blast that people are like, ooh, I don't need all that. And then they turn it down.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the goal, man. And that's just an emitter race. The emitters keep getting better and better and better. And then when we incorporate them into the new stuff, and sometimes we'll even make an inline change and make stuff better without really talking about it. But we always want it to be as bright as possible and have the best battery life that we can. That's one of those things where when people get wrapped around the handle around the brand of their optic, I don't correct them. I'm not that guy that's like, well, actually, I don't want to be that dude. But it's more like chronology of when you bought the product, what generation it is, as opposed to what brand it is. Okay?
Interesting.
Because
Yep.
the technology, the pace of development is moving so fast now. The best analogy I've come up with is, imagine you were in a Facebook group and it was like the Samsung phone Facebook group. And there were a bunch of guys posting up their phone flexes going, yeah, man, I've got a 2017 Samsung phone. I paid $1,000 for it. It's the last phone I ever need. My grandpa had one of these. My uncle had one of these. Samsung forever. And everybody knows that, like, no matter what the brand is, if it's a Samsung phone or an iPhone or whatever the heck it is, the 2017 is not going to be very good compared to what's been made in the last couple of years. It's just not, right?
Yeah.
There's not as much processing power. The Wi-Fi is not as good. The battery doesn't last as long. The screen's not as big, right? These phones get better every year. Every iPhone is better than the iPhone before. I don't even know what this one is, but imagine how silly it would be for me to wrap my personality around the fact that I own an iPhone from a certain year or a certain time period, and to the detriment of anything that's new and different. How silly would that be? And honestly, that's kind of where the optics, not just Gideon, but all these optics are going. Like, you can buy a cheap, off-brand optic in 2026 that beats the crap out of a Loophole Delta Point Pro from 2020.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Loophole. You guys need to update your stuff, guys,
Yeah.
because they're still making the same thing they did 5 years ago, and it's long in the tooth. It doesn't have the same features. It doesn't have the same brightness. It doesn't have the same toughness. But it says Loophole on it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
your uncle's proud because all he owns is Loophole.
Well,
That's cool about the brand loyalty.
Yeah, at that point, it's just a branding,
Right. So anyway, yeah, at a certain point, the technology is moving so fast that the life of these optics is shorter than it's ever been. Where we came out with Alpha, Omega, and Rock, our first three pistol dots in 2023, and I'm already now in 2026, 3 years later, I'm sort of like, we should maybe start looking doing like an Omega 2 and update
Yeah.
it and change it
Okay.
because it's 3 years later, and I'm already like, we
Right.
maybe we could do
Yeah.
better than that.
So
The
you
one
just
that I just
get
showed you, the Valor, I like way better than
Right.
the Omega.
Well, so what does that do for dots like the Pebble that are purpose
Oh,
designed for a specific gun?
hopefully, yeah, like Pebble is a wild one. Hopefully they'll have a longer life, but also hopefully we can do more with the same form factor. So the challenge with Pebble is that it's a red dot the size of my thumb. I mean, it's tiny.
Yeah.
I got one. Hold on a second.
yeah.
Just
Where's
really
the phone?
quickly, this is my tism that won't let me quit.
Yeah,
You have your Pebble is here banner has the shield specific or Gideon Pebble, but then the the gun that's mounted or the red dot that's on the gun, the model is clearly an optic cut bodyguard.
really.
So it's a different red dot. You guys have one of I imagine would be a prototype, but it's not the slide ride.
You'll
It's a
have
And
to
different
send
dot.
there's
me. You'll have
and
to send
there's
me a link to
Bryce's
that.
tism. And there's
Yeah.
Bryce's
You
tisms.
can see the cut in the back too. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
He's staring at it intensively now.
Sorry, that was bugging me and I had to tell somebody.
Well, I was the right guy to tell about it because I'm actually one of the guys who could do something
I'll
about it.
send you a picture.
Yeah,
But
send me a link. I'm interested. Yeah, because yeah, we do
it's just
prototype
it's your
stuff.
home
Yeah,
screen.
yeah. Okay, check it out. You'd be with everything that I do, you would be amazed at how little time I actually spend on our own website.
No, you're good. Sorry, that was a complete aside, but I do want to hear about the Pebble. I'm
He's
so
gonna
sorry.
completely change the entire website overnight because of you, Bryce.
No, I'm sorry.
It wouldn't be the first time, man. It wouldn't be the first time.
Well,
So
because I was trying to find that dot, I'm like, they don't have that specific dot. They have the Pebble because it looks like the same form factor, but I can see the seam where it mounts on the plate.
now I gotta look.
And
No, I'm just
great.
looking.
Now he's
Oh, I
roped
see
you
it
to
there.
his insanity. Oh God.
I'm sorry.
Damn it, Bryce.
It's not the same dot.
Damn it. You and your Alice in Wonderland rabbit holes.
It is the correct dot.
Yeah, but it's not the slide ride. I
but
can tell
there's-
it's an optic cut bodyguard.
Yeah, there's a plate there that you don't
Yeah.
need. You know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if that was AI'd up. I'm wondering if that
yeah, maybe.
Yep. I'm wondering if that was AI'd up.
That
That's
explains some of
my
the
guess.
the
for-
verbiage on it.
Jesus. Oh man. You
I'm
guys are
sorry,
just
that was a terrible tangent. My
deconstructing the
brain won't let that
website.
shit go. All right,
I've-
tell me about the Pebble because it's super
So,
cool, and I wanted to ask you about it
don't
earlier.
need a plate like we have. So yeah. So so Bodyguard 2.0 is super popular, very successful. Smith and Wesson's making a ton of these things, and they can be shot well. The Bodyguard 1.0 is not a gun that can be shot well.
No, by
Uh,
anybody.
Yeah, the 2.0 can be. So we saw an opportunity to how can we get all the things that we like about having a pistol dot on like a Smith and Wesson Shield, right? That's a great gun to put a dot on. And what we started to see was guys getting them cut for RMSC footprint, and that's a little sketch.
Yeah.
Mostly because of where the screws are, and also because of internals on the slide. It can be done. It has been done, but we're like, it's probably not going to take off. So we developed the Pebble to use a dovetail mount. I actually have a video on YouTube. This is completely unrelated, strangely enough, But while we were already developing Pebble and thinking, okay, we can knock out the rear sight, put in a rear sight insert that's got a couple of raised posts that are threaded to have something to thread this thing into.
Mhm.
While that was it was in what I call the hopes and dreams stage, which is step files and CAD CAM files,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Uh,
we're collaborating on this, we're developing it, but it's hopes and dreams. It hasn't been made into actual metal yet. Okay.
Mhm.
So there's a guy named Caleb who worked at a company called Angry Bear Arms. They make really good iron sights.
I'm familiar
Nice
with them.
yeah. And he's like, "Hey, I've made a dovetail mount for RMSC, and it just goes into like the back of a Glock, Gen
Mhm.
2, Gen 3, or whatever, and then you could throw an RMSC into it and it works." And I'm like, "Without any recoil lugs or plate or anything?" He's like, "No, it actually works." I'm like, "Good for you." He's like, "Let me send you one." So he sent me one. I put it in. Holy crap, the thing actually works. There's a YouTube video on our channel of me using it as a hammer to hammer a target into target backer. It really bashed up my Valor Mini doing it. Totally tore up the optic. The optic's ugly now, but it held 0. The
Hey.
optic held 0 and did not
right
break.
on.
And the mount didn't break. So I thought there was a decent chance that the mount was going to break right off, right? So we're developing this little guy that's a dovetail mount, and then at the same time, I get proof that the dovetail mount concept is viable
Mm.
through Angry Bear Arms making a similar product for a different footprint. Like, well, if the Angry Bear mount works and you can use it a hammer, then this thing has a chance of working. So
Right.
that was pure coincidence because he sent me that having no idea that Pebble was even an idea yet, right? So it was
Right.
pure coincidence in timing. And then so yeah, so it'll work on any of the Bodyguard 2.0s. It'll work on the Comp Performance Center, the regular one. Um, and you just drive out your rear sight. You drive in this rear sight insert, which is annoyingly oversized because when Smith and Wesson makes 10 gazillion of these things, they will have some
Yeah.
variance in their slide cuts. So if we're gonna go with a standard size in all of our mounts, we can either make it potentially too small or potentially too big. It's not going to be
Right.
perfect in all of them. So we made it a little bit too big on purpose, and then some people are having to kind of shave it with a triangle file or scrape the bottom against some sandpaper for a while. But basically, it's a trim to fit. Um, to get that rear sight mount in there. And then this basically conforms. Oh, there we go. That conforms to the shape of the slide. The serrations are slightly different on some different versions.
Yeah.
So like the Performance Center has cooler looking serrations that just look cooler, but the actual shape that you see in there
Mhm.
works either way.
Okay.
And then this thing, it weighs nothing. And when I said it's the size of, hey,
Oh,
train accordingly.
perfect.
Train accordingly. We have Aaron Cowan at home. Um, so it is literally like the size of my thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and it still
it's
has a
so
battery
tiny.
tray. You don't
Yes.
have to take it off, which
That is
there's a
so nice because
I cannot tell you how much I appreciate living in the year
I
2026 and I
with
don't
a
have to take
battery
my
tray.
fucking dot off.
Yeah.
I mean, I pitched the fucking Romeo. What is it, 0? Because I got
Yeah.
tired of the parasitic battery drain in the
Well,
stripping with
those are just
screws.
bad, but
Well, I mean, it worked until it didn't,
well, that's fair.
and then I
Well,
stripped the screws.
well, and then it's weird. So you guys came out with a slide ride optic, and then Viridian did too. But Viridian has like this weird prolapse thing coming out of the back.
Oh
Like I
yeah,
don't.
We
I
had
have. God,
we had
yeah.
absolutely no idea, none, that they had done something similar. None.
Yeah.
And then like Sunday night, I think, at SHOT Show, we're already in Vegas. We're getting ready to set up. We're already in Vegas. We're getting ready to set up our booth Monday. And we see like the big product launch from Viridian on theirs.
Yeah.
Oh, did I curse like a sailor? I was like, oh, I thought we were going to be first to market on this.
I don't
They're
know,
kind of a
man.
bigger name than we are. Like, you know,
Still buy
it-
yours.
but I would too, for various reasons.
Yeah.
Side tray is a thing.
That's the
Um,
thing.
That's the
That and
big
this,
seller.
theirs is
Al-
tall,
Also,
like real tall.
so ours is
Yep.
machined from billet, not cast, which does matter, I think, when we're talking about strength.
Yeah.
Also, there's a few other things, and I don't generally, I don't like to, you won't hear me talk bad about other companies, and I don't even really like to make those comparisons that much because I think it's kind of a bad look for a manufacturer to be like, buy ours, not the other guy, like I don't want to be that dude, but I'll say we have some secret sauce in here, like we have, this has a brightness lock, so you can set the brightness to whatever you want and then hold down the brightness up button for 3 seconds. It's going to blink at you, and that means it's locked. The shake awake will still work. It'll wake up and go to sleep, but you can't actually change the brightness level until you unlock it again. And we managed to put
Oh,
that
that's
technology
cool.
in something this size. So that means because the buttons are on the inside here and I don't have a cage around it, if I'm appendix carrying this thing and it's pushing up against my body, I don't get an inadvertent button push because I cinched down my seatbelt in the car too tight or something.
Right.
In fact, you'll
Yeah.
find pretty much all of our pistol dots, we like really firm, clicky buttons. In general, I want you to really have to mash on this sucker to change it because I don't
Right.
like inadvertent button presses because, oh, I leaned against the table and my body pushed against the scope and now I turn my scope off.
Right.
That sucks, right?
Well, I'm not bound by any company rules. I will say buy the Pebble because footprint makes more sense. It looks like somebody that
I
actually
agree.
shoots designed it. Like
I agree with Bryce.
it doesn't Viridian as a whole. It just looks like something my dad thinks is a good idea. Like it's like probably not. But I don't like how it looks like it's prolapsed out of the back. I don't like the deck height. I don't like that. Your dot. It looks like something somebody
This is the first time. This is the first time you're
sorry.
hearing this, Greg, Mike.
This is
But
not
I
the
heard
first
it.
event I've
I heard it live on the SHOT Show floor.
I know.
For
I was
about
playing
20
with
minutes.
the body. Or I was
I
playing
was
with
like,
the
I get
bodyguard
it.
in the
I
Smith
get
and
it.
Wesson booth.
I get it. It sucks. I
So
get it.
mad.
He's like,
What
put it,
the
put it,
fuck is
put it
this?
actually, put it actually. I'm like, I know.
I hate this.
It sucks. He's like,
It's
but
You guys were you guys were super busy too, so I wanted to go and talk to you, but you were busy.
We
and I
were
was like,
crazy
well,
busy all
yeah.
week.
we'll try it again.
It was so wild though, because like I said, we had no idea that they had done any of this, no clue.
Yeah.
And then they come out with their product launch. We come out with our product launch, and I'm like, okay, is this like that mediator situation that I talked about, where we had like a single designer who sold the idea to
No.
some places, right?
No.
But then,
No.
then you look at the
No.
two different optics, and it's clear that they were designed completely different. Like the battery's not even in the same
Yeah.
place at all, right? It's a completely different
Yeah.
animal. So it's like, I feel like I'm sitting here in my F-15 Eagle looking over going, is that a MiG-25? You know,
yeah.
Why did they bring
what the heck?
Cessnas to this party?
You know, but like it's the same thing, but not. You know, how did that happen? When
Yeah.
we it's just incredibly coincidental, and people probably won't believe that. There's going to be, the
conspiracy
internet
theorists.
guys are going to
I
know,
don't know,
oh
man.
no, they're all made in the same place, and it's just a shell game. But I know the truth. Like we were
I
as
remember-
stunned as anything to recognize that they were doing that.
So I've cared about guns long enough to remember the T2 aim point mounts for the slide rides. And
Yeah.
I also remember when people were like, "Oh, I don't need to mill my optic or my gun for an optic because I can just put a dovetail mount in," and that's what that looks like. And I can't, not yours. I'm sorry, that thing pisses me off so much. It makes me so
Jesus.
irritated.
Jesus
It doesn't look
Christ.
properly designed. I don't like it.
It's almost
I'm grumpy
as
now.
it's almost designed as well as the EBR-14.
I hate you. Stop talking.
Ooh,
I hate EBRs.
the world's
So
most
stupid.
expensive 3 MOA rifle.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've been down that path.
I
Yeah.
like M14s. Don't get me wrong, but I hate
God,
EBRs.
why they started
Okay, here's
tangent.
here. We're gonna tangent on the M14 for one moment, folks.
Perfect.
Here's my beef with the M14. Every M14 fan has valid reasons for liking the M14, but it's always my uncle carried one when he got issued one, or I like wood stocks. I like
Yep.
the way it looks cool. I like the SOCOM because it looks neat. Or I like the iron sights. I like this. I like that. They have their reasons, and a lot of it's I like American made. It's made in the USA, right? Okay, or designed in the USA at least, right?
I was like, wait
Right,
a second. It's
right,
definitely
yeah.
Canadian. It's-
But it's the last of the real, American battle rifle. It's got that vibe to it. Yes, that's true.
Right.
But you'll notice that of all the reasons that they give for loving the M14, it's the best battle rifle is never the reason. Like, if we have the M14 versus the FAO versus the G3, et cetera, and we're comparing semi-automatic 308 battle rifles with 20-round magazines, nobody says the M14 is the objectively best battle rifle. Nobody says that.
No.
Yes,
No.
clearly
But
the
on the other hand,
G3.
my uncle had one. Okay, got it.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Also, really quickly, because I know there's autism people in my crowd, I said it's Canadian because it was based on the Garand, not because it was literally designed by a Canadian. That was a joke, just so people don't think I'm retarded.
Well,
I am,
it was
but
it was
for a
it was a
different
group
reason.
effort. Yeah, I've got
it's fine.
I've got a CMP Grand that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want one of like the mod. Was it the mod O or the mod 2s? The rechambered Navy ones in 308. Those are pretty cool. I like those.
Nice.
Mine only sees action a couple of times a year because 30-06.
Yeah, and that's why
Yeah,
I'm just not gonna.
I can't
shoot
afford to
the
feed
guns.
it, but
it's funny on their website, the CMP website, it actually warns against utilizing modern ammunition because the rifles are like 70 years old.
no,
Yeah.
it's not even that. It's that the gas system that Garand designed was designed very specifically for M2 ball ammo, which was issued in World War II. So it's kind of like how, going back to optics stuff, you have like a BDC reticle in your Trijicon ACOG, and it's set for a 14.5-inch barrel with M855 62 grain green tip ammo only.
Yeah.
Well, why is that? Well, because that's what was issued at that time when the request for procurement came out for the ACOG. They want to be able, you're going to be issued this rifle with this optic on it, and we
Yeah.
want them to play well together. That's the way the Grand was with the 30-06 ammo in World War II. It's M2 ball ammo, which has a very specific burn rate in its powder and a very specific bullet weight, and it plays well with the gas system. Now, if you put Remington core-locked, deer hunting ammo through that same M1 Grand, the pressure spike is completely different. It's not a slow burn. It's all at once with a massive pressure spike, because they're thinking that you're shooting it out of a bolt action, which is what 99% of deer hunters always traditionally did. And it'll actually bend the op rod in
Right.
the old Garands. It'll tear up your gun. It's not because they're old, because man, they still, after all these years, those things were built to last. They still will work. But you have to understand your gear, and you have to pair it up with the right stuff.
Yeah.
Did they
yeah.
they changed the design of the gas system for a similar reason, right? For
I think
the
so.
M1 Garands, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a similar problem that the M16s. Everybody's like, "Oh, the M16s didn't work." It's like, well, when it was designed to work with specific ammunition, and then you decide,
you change.
We
We
had
got a
this
bunch of
other
this old
powder.
powder lying around. We might as well use up the old powder.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it work? Well,
Why is it fouling up the gun? Who knows?
why doesn't my car that takes gas working with diesel?
What do you
Right.
mean they
Very,
have
very
to-
similar.
What do you
That's
mean
a
they
great.
have to clean the
Interesting.
gun? That's crazy.
That's a great
The fuck are
analogy.
you
It's like
talking
putting
about?
diesel. It's not supposed to work that way.
Right, exactly. It's now I think people nowadays are spoiled because they can shoot their Tula and their Hornady Black and all this ammo out of this gun, and they're like, well, why isn't it's like, well, in the 50s we did not have, never mind the actual cartridge or the powder design or any standardization of any kind. Like, the market wasn't what it is now, and even then there's still like 6-arc. People love 6-arc, but there's ammo for 6-arc that's loaded really hot that's for maybe more bolt gunny stuff or like ICAR rated stuff, and then there's stuff that works better with gas guns that are semi-automatic, so you're not blowing bolt heads and sharing lugs. It's like,
You got
I
to know
hate
what
people.
goes with gut. You got to know what goes with, and again, this is why we were talking earlier about how it ain't the same thing as selling refrigerators and mattresses. You need to if you're going to take it seriously, you've got to get in the weeds on this stuff, and the numbers really do matter. This stuff that really does matter. And I was talking
Absolutely.
about the BDC reticles. I was
That was
actually
that's perfect. Yeah.
was talking about this with some guys earlier today in a Signal group chat. I do the reticle work for Gideon. So if any of you have questions about reticles, I'm the guy that, if you don't like our reticles, that's my fault. I'm the guy that you don't like. But when it came to do a BDC reticle in our LPVOs, what's our BDC reticle set for? Well, it's set for what I like. Which is I like a 5200 battle sight 0. So the LPVO is actually set up for a 50-yard 0, which also is handy because a lot of people these days don't have access to a 100-yard range, but they can get to like an indoor range that goes to 50.
Yeah.
So they don't have to worry about any kind of weirdo offset. Nope, just set it at 50. So it's a 5200 battle sight 0, and it's set for a 16-inch barrel with M193 55 grain. Why? Because that's what everybody shoots, because it's
That's
cheap.
awesome. That's
Because
fucking
it's
awesome.
cheap. And why is it a 16-inch barrel? Because how many 16-inch barrel M4Gs are out there versus 14 and a half with a pin and welded flashlighter? It's not even
Yeah.
close. There's a
No.
gazillion 16-inch barrel ARs out there, and there's a
There's a difference
handful.
too. It
It's-
mattars.
It doesn't matter that much inside like 400,
Yeah.
right? When we got up to 500-600 yards,
Yeah.
and the BDC in mine only in the Gideons, the BDC only goes to 6. I'll
Right.
get you out to 600 yards, maybe 625 if you use the very bottom of the ladder.
Right.
Like other guys, there are other reticles out there that are like 900-yard BDC with a 5.56
Right.
gun, and I'm like, if you're aiming at a tanker truck,
Right.
like
Area of effect.
like yeah, like, or if you're okay with sending 10 rounds and getting one hit,
Right.
because at that point the caliber's just out of gas, and you're in a cone of fire situation, and you're just kind of lobbing them in there.
Yeah.
So I try to keep it real. 600 yards but it's amazing, guys, how much our expectations have changed. Like, I've been doing this for a minute now, and if you could go back in time to pre 9/11 America, all right, so I'm talking like the late 90s,
Just heard an
and
eagle scream.
right, yeah,
A wonderful, wonderful bliss.
God bless.
right. The Matrix said that was the peak of civilization. That might be right.
I
But
believe him.
go back to the 1990s and say I can get an AR put together for about $750. I'm gonna get a China-made $300 LPVO on it that goes from 1 to 6 or 1 to 8. I'm gonna shoot bulk pack ammo that I can get at Walmart, and I'm expecting one-shot hits at 500 yards. They would laugh you out of the room, would they not? Would they not? Because
While they're beating your ass.
yeah, because back then, everybody was shooting a 3 to 9 hunting scope, usually with like a 30-30 lever rifle. If you took a 100-yard shot on a deer, you were the big man on campus for making a 100-yard shot with that thing. We've come so far for not, and I know the dollar's lost a third of its value since COVID. That sucks. But like what we're paying for this stuff now compared to what we used to have to pay, man.
Rate of inflation for
Yeah.
firearms and ammo is people bitch and moan about the prices for these things, but I don't think they've actually done the math on what we had versus what we have now. They just haven't. Clearly, they don't spend time in reality. They just want to bitch and moan about what it used to be.
The
like.
only inflation I care about is the Glock inflation. Once Glock goes higher than
That's Kevin's
700,
thing.
I will get very scared for the economy.
Well, so real quick on reticle design before I forget, the Guardian 1 to 8. That looks really similar. Have you shot out of the SAI optics? Or
I am aware of them, and
okay.
I looked at their homework. Um, so yeah, so I did the reticle in that. You're talking about the first focal plane.
Yep. Yeah, I am.
So the first focal plane, it's funny, guys I call them the tent stakes, and they sort of radiate out from the center. Other guys have said it's the Call of Duty hit indicator built into the scope, so you
That's
can
good. I
tell when
like
you
that.
got a hit, right? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of funny. It kind of also reminds me of like the OG 1977 Star Wars when they're aiming at the TIE fighters. It's
Yep.
kind
Yeah,
of
going
like
down
the
the trench.
the reticle displayed in the X-wing fighter. Maybe
I had
that
that as a shirt.
maybe that sort of like was in my subconscious, but so the story with that one is that the reticle illumination the technology for reticle illumination that we have available right now is an etched illuminated reticle. So let's get into the weeds for a second on this. So we basically have a piece of glass and we put a mask over it, and the shape of the reticle is cut into that mask. So think about like a piece of duct tape, and I've taken a razor to it, and I've cut a shape in the duct tape, and I put it over the glass. Then the industry term is chemical etching. What it is I take a Q-tip with some nasty acid on it, and I swab it over my duct tape, and the acid goes through the hole that I cut in it, and it eats into the glass. It eats into
Mm.
it and creates an eaten away part that's a depression in that glass. Then I go with a paintbrush and I paint it silver. And the silver paint falls into the chemical etched reticle that I created with that acid, with the chemical
Interesting.
etching. All right. So I have silver paint in a shape that was created by my template. Then I pull my duct tape off and I clean the whole thing up, and I now have a clean piece of glass with a silver painted reticle in it. And then what I'm going to do is kind of like a red dot, I'm going to shine an LED emitter from the back of the scope at that silver paint. It's going to reflect the color of the emitter, red or green. The paint color varies depending on what Uh, and also there's some coatings and stuff. There's some magic in there, but I'm making it simple for us, right? But
Mhm.
it's basically like an LED emitter out of a red dot that's shining on a silver painted reticle that's etched into the glass, and it's going to come back to my eyes, and that's how we do our reticle illumination. And it's super standard. Like Vortex had this 10 years ago with the original Strike Eagle.
Right.
It's well understood, it's well mastered. The problem is that it ain't that bright. It's
Right.
daylight visible, but it's not daylight bright. Okay?
Right.
So that's what we have. That's what we have access to. We don't have the technology to do that Vortex Razor Gen 3 1 to 10 nuclear bright um Night Force Attacker nuclear bright diffractive reticle illumination. We don't have that. So in a first focal plane reticle, the problem with all first focal plane reticles in LPVOs is, drum roll please, the darn reticle disappears at 1x and you can't find the sucker.
Right. Yep.
Okay, right? So then what do? Well, we turn up our diffractive reticle illumination to 11 and we run it like a red dot. Awesome. If you spent $2,500 on the scope. It
Right.
works great with the razors. It works great with the Night Force. We can't do it. So I decided I got to make a 1 to 8x reticle in first focal plane that you can use in black. That you can still find the middle of the reticle and run like a plate rack fast.
Right.
Like competition, I'm hauling butt as fast as I can. I need to
Mhm.
shoot quick, 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 go, go, go with fast splits.
Yeah.
And if the battery's conked out, who cares? I can still see it in black. So it's a big, bold reticle and it's in your face. And I put those big black tent stakes all around. And then at 1x, they go, and they become very small. but they're all kind of, there's a bunch of other elements too. There's a ring, and there's 3 stadia that come from the outside of the field of view, and it's all these elements that tell your eyeball, hey dummy, here's where the middle of the scope is. And I wanted it to be fast at 1x, even in black, and it is. The trade-off is there's no such thing as a free lunch. You have to give to
Right.
get. The trade-off is it is one of the busiest reticles at 8x. If you don't know what you're looking at and you don't realize that all that stuff has a reason,
Yeah.
people will look through it at 8x and go, what is all that crap? I don't need all that. I don't know what to do with it.
Right. Right.
And
Interesting.
yeah, so, but I'm hoping that as time goes by, more people will understand the Christmas tree in it, the holdover grid that I put in it, which is actually, I think, fairly clever. It's not a very standard one. It's kind of cool. It's got a neat trick up its sleeve. But people will realize that all that stuff's there for a reason. And if I'm already all the way at 8x, hopefully I've already sort of found my target and I'm working inside the Christmas tree area. I'm not glassing the whole field looking for that deer at 8 times magnification.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe
Yeah, you're
if
not
it's
hunting for
busy,
that.
I don't really care because I'm trying to make a 300-yard shot and I'm kind of holding up and over anyway, and I'm focusing on just one section of the reticle.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but reticle design is hard. There's no such thing as a free lunch, and first focal plane reticles are really hard. Can
Have
I
you guys
tell you?
played around with fiber wire at all?
We have one. The
Do
1 to
you?
6.
Okay.
The 1 to
Okay.
6. Ironically, my favorite of our LPVOs is the cheapest one. The 1 to 6. We were talking about inflation and how much stuff costs. Customers talk about, I hate the I word, innovation. You guys have your pet peeves. This is a pet peeve of mine. I hate
I got a
innovation.
couple.
Ooh,
Right.
it's so innovation. What does that even mean, man? But I think what it means for customers is usually there's a new feature that's on the side of the box. There's a new doohickey thing that it does that the other one didn't do. That's innovation.
Right.
From the manufacturer's point of view, innovation can be hidden stuff that's not easily perceived by the customer, such as we can make this simpler, we can make this stronger, we can make this cheaper without compromising, we can make it more consistently. So instead of having a discard rate of 20% where every 10 of these we make, we throw 2 of them in the trash can because we didn't make it right. If we can shrink that down and have, only 1 out of 100 gets thrown away, okay, well, now where it's a less wasteful process, we don't have to charge as much. We can make the same money with a product that costs less.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
when I was talking about how, there's no patent on 7075 aluminum. It's either 7075 aluminum or it's not, right? When we're talking about really, really high-end optics like Schmidt and Bender, Zero Compromise, Tangent Theta, do they have amazing, cool machines that we don't have access to that allows them to make those turrets that are so amazing in those scopes? Yeah. They have like 7-axis CNC machines that are worth more than my house by a lot. Okay, so good for them. That's cool. But they also have an incredibly wasteful process where when you buy one of those optics and you buy a $4,000 scope, you're not paying for the material in that scope. You're paying for the 30 scopes they threw away because it wasn't perfect. Or
Yeah.
the 30
Wow.
turrets
Yeah.
that they put in the recycle bin to melt down
Right.
and try again
You're
because
paying
they
for all of
only
it.
right, because they only select that 1 out of 30 turret that's flawless and perfect in every way. That one goes into the
But
scope,
you're
right?
paying for
So
the cost of that.
You
it's
should
an
teach an economics class.
right, it's an
That's a good way
incredibly
of putting that.
wasteful process. So if we can waste less, we can charge less, right? So these things are innovation from the manufacturer's point of view, and the customer has no idea. So we have a LPVO that we come out this year, fiber wire illumination, basic MOA ladder in it. It's got 0.25 MOA clicks instead of half MOA clicks, so you can zero it in really nicely. And we're selling this thing for $300 in 2026 money. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
The
Well, the
original,
adjustments, it's
yeah,
by itself. I was just God
Yeah.
damn it. Yeah, it's like you were listening before you came on. I was just bitching about half MOA adjustments.
He was.
I was
He
literally
truly
just
was.
bitching about that.
Right. You got to try this thing out. And the glass is great. It's super flat. There's no edge distortion. There's no fisheye at 1x. Like I can play with it in my living room, and I mean, I literally will do stuff like, again, the people listening to the podcast won't be able to see this, but you can see I've got some right angles behind me. I got that shelf behind me, right? Okay, and that's like not even 5 yards away. It's the back of the room. So I put an LPVO on 1x, and I put this shelf in the corner of the field of view of the LPVO, and what do you see? You see it bend in a C shape, right?
Right.
Right? You get that indoor
Yeah.
fisheye because it's like not even 5 yards away, and whoa,
Right.
everything's weird, right?
Yeah.
Not with this, man. They've got the optical engineering, the science of the shape of the lenses and their mathematical relationship to each other is so much better than it was 5 years ago. And like when the Strike Eagle came out, I love the Vortex Strike Eagle because it proved the LPVO concept to a whole generation of shooters. Tons of guys had Strike Eagle for their first 1-6, and then they went from there. But everybody had a Strike Eagle at some point to go, oh wow, this is a good idea.
This is something.
That was $340 back in like 2016 money, 10 years
This
ago.
is exactly what I'm talking about. Like we have it so good. It's
Yeah.
so good.
And we beat the Strike Eagle price point by $40 with
Not accounting for inflation, by the
right,
way.
not accounting for inflation.
Yeah.
With an
Yeah.
optic that objectively whoops it. Like there's
Yeah.
no and like I said, I usually am not the guy who's like gonna name names and say buy ours instead of theirs. I really don't like being that guy, but like look objectively at how good the new LPVOs are for what you pay. And if you're still running one of those old generation LPVOs, it doesn't have to be us, but just look through some new stuff. And
Yeah.
you're gonna now's the time to upgrade. My
They'll
goodness.
be eye-opening.
My goodness, it's amazing for the money now.
So I've seen you guys tease this a little bit, but you guys are going to have more MPVO or an MPVO option or something like that. What's going on with that?
So
Oh.
I've got two of them behind me that are
I
prototypes.
also have been looking at them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, he moved.
So so
It's
not
good
a
for the audio only podcast. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
right.
It
guys.
is. It
okay,
is.
guys.
No one can
Imagine
see Oogle and stuff.
behind me on a table is a $15,000 Accuracy International.
True, I see it.
With a $500 spur mount. And the coolest 5-25 you've seen your whole
Hell
life.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Or it's a Remington 700 police model. And I think I can't even remember whose rings these are. It's gonna come to me in a half hour.
Yeah, it's usually how it works for me.
Yeah, right.
I'll be getting to bed, be like, oh motherfucker, and text Kevin.
Yeah, right. But
And then I
this
just won't
this
look at it
is-
till the morning.
I want to say they might be Badgers. They're nice rings, but whatever. So this is what you are looking at, and what the customer, what the podcast listener cannot be looking at, is a really nice 5-25. This will be Gideon Guardian 5-25 by 56. It's a very popular prescription right now. It's the industry term of art. Lots of people like the 5-25. We got a throw lever. We've got a zero stop that works and doesn't suck and won't get us sued. Problem with zero stops is that there are two patent holders, and they love to sue anybody who they think made a zero stop that looks like theirs, and they've sued each other in the past. They're very suing type companies. So you need
And he's
to
definitely not talking about Leopold or Night Force.
and anyway,
Jesus.
so you need to develop a zero stop that works nicely and doesn't look like what
Right.
anybody else has. So we've done that.
And one that works, unlike the Arkin.
We have
what?
an off detent between each brightness setting on the illuminated reticle.
Thank
we
you.
have a parallax knob that works wonderfully. This is like the third prototype that I've got, and one of the things that I'm really picky about on parallax knobs is if it says 100 and I put it to 100, it needs to actually fixed parallax at 100. Sometimes you'll see even a higher end optics, they'll kind of give up on that, and they'll just make like a little arrow that spreads or whatever,
Yep.
and they're going to trust that their
It's just
customer,
more or less.
yeah, their customer is
Yeah.
an educated customer who knows how to check for parallax and wiggle his eye behind the scope. He knows exactly what parallax is, and that's okay. But we're more budget, we're more beginner friendly, and I sort of want to be able for a regular dude to go, my target's at 100 yards. I'm going to put this on 100 and then have it work. I don't want him to be, he doesn't need to read a treatise on what exactly parallax is to understand how to set the knob. Just put it at the range of your target. You'll be fine. That's what I want,
Right.
right? So this does
Thank
all
you.
those things. So this is 5-25. I'm not sure when it's going to be ready. This one here, I think, is pretty darn ready. This is my best one of the prototypes. I'm super pleased with it. It has my reticle in it. My reticle, how do I say this? I know my core customer. This reticle had 12 MRAD of vertical hold, which would get you, with a 308 like this with a 20-inch barrel, it would get you to 850 yards. At which point the 308's really out of gas. Really,
Well, how much do you have in the turret other than the reticle?
A lot. It's good. It's a good turret. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's this one's actually, and it's
'Cause I'm
so
I'm thinking 22s.
I'm like for NRL 22.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I like the big chunk. So let's count it up. So I'm zeroed at 100 yards here. So we're just gonna count up from our zero. All right. So there, I can demonstrate the zero stop. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
Yeah.
Here we
I
go.
can.
Ready?
Yeah.
See how it stopped? I like the zero stop to stop about 4 inches behind the zero. Because
Right.
I'm not going to get confused, and I might have to go a little bit under at some point, maybe
Right.
depending on weather or whatever. All right,
Yep.
so that's my zero stop. So we're set. All right. This is really exciting for the people that are listening. There's
Thank you,
one
nominations.
revolution.
A tickle in my
Okay, the
pickles.
zero stop. So I've got, with the zero stop engaged that eats up some of the travel, I've
Right.
got 16 MRAD of revolutions available with the zero stop, and then 14 more in the actual holds, which is a
Okay.
ton. But it
Okay.
started out as 12 MOA. My first reticle design was 12 MOA, and then I thought, you know what? Knowing Americans and how much we love round numbers, people are
Yeah.
not going to want to buy this unless they have $1,000 rifle, 1,000-yard rifle. They're going to say, I bought a Ruger American and I want to shoot at 1,000 yards with 100-yard zero and not have to count clicks.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to extend this thing from 12 MRAD to 14 MRAD down, which is a really, really big Christmas tree.
Right.
I made that change. I was thinking about whether it was the right thing to do or not, kind of chewing on it. It wasn't submitted yet. And like 2 days after I made that change, one of my old Missouri shooting buddies goes, hey, I got a Palmetto State Armory semi-auto SASS clone, and it's what do you got that'll get me to 1,000 yards, boy? And I thought, I know my core customer.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, buddy, I got a scope coming out. It's gonna get you to 1,000 yards with that Palmetto
Boy,
State
howdy.
Armory. You're gonna love it. You just need to wait until it's released. You're gonna love it. You just zero to 100, and you can tell all your friends you got a 1,000-yard rifle. Does he have a 1,000-yard range he's gonna go to? I don't know, but he's
Yeah.
gonna tell all his friends he's got a 1,000-yard rifle because
I
we're
mean, that's what it's all
Americans.
about. I mean,
Yeah,
you gotta have a 1,000-yard rifle.
yeah. You may not ever actually go to a drag strip, but by God, if you buy a Hellcat Charger, you're gonna tell everybody it makes 700 horsepower.
Right.
Hell yeah,
Right?
it
It's right there
does.
on the side of the car.
Is it
Yeah.
going to be in mils and MOA?
This one will just be in mils to start with.
So I noticed your LPVOs are in MOA,
Mhm.
and then so what precipitated the change to mils for the big boy optic?
So honestly, what precipitated MOA and the LPVOs is that they already have the turrets done and working.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
I have a mil reticle for that 1-8 FFP that's waiting in the wings in case we ever get MRAD turrets.
Yeah.
And if there's a demand for it, which people, honestly, most of the guys are just shooting with
Or how
holds
much
anyway.
dialing you're doing with an LPVO.
Right, exactly. So I'm not really convinced that it matters so much for LPVO, but on
Yeah.
the big stuff,
Yeah.
I think
Tenths are
most of the
easier.
serious guys are going with MRAD now. And that's where I want to lean for. It's not that I don't want to do both. It's that we have to start somewhere, and it's a new venture for us. We're known for doing
Right.
pistol dots. We're known for doing some LPVOs. Nobody thinks of us as a precision rifle scope company yet. So we got to kind of dip our big toe in the water a little bit and kind of let it kind of percolate over time and sort of add on. Hey, they got a precision scope now. Okay, now they got one that's in MOA, or now they got one
Well,
that's
I
this
mean,
one.
you hit the
Yeah.
what are the McDonald's Happy Meal tree of the trifecta, like all the things that you'd want out of a scope, right? Mill radian, zero stop, like it's
Reticle
got
illumination,
A scope
great
made
reticle
by
in it.
made by
Yeah.
shooters for shooters.
right. I mean, those are what you're looking for out of a scope like that. It does the thing. It has what's the tube diameter?
34.
34, and
Yeah.
there you go. So I mean, that's pretty much, you're checking those boxes. That's great. That gets you in the door for people that pull triggers a lot. So
Let me show you the other. This is nobody's seen this yet outside the company. So, and
dun,
your
dun, dun.
and your podcast listeners still can't see it.
They're lost.
They're lost. All right. So,
Great.
for comparison's sake, here is our 1 to 10 LPVO.
Right.
That is on a 34 millimeter tube. 1 to 10 second focal plane. This thing is an absolute. This is on my race gun. Got a bunch of Geisley crap in it. So that is a beautiful 1 to 10 to look through. I mean, great glass, great field of view. It's got the BDC reticle in it, so it's super fast. Love it. Now,
Oh,
hello.
that's stubby.
This
That's a stubby magnified optic.
That's a stubby 2 to 12. It's a 2 to 12.
Oh, interesting.
Bryce is happy.
Yeah, Bryce is interested.
Here's my thing. Here's my selling 2 to 12s to guys. I think MPVOs are the next big thing. We don't want to be left behind. We think that they're going to be the next big thing, and we're going to be there for it. It's going to be a 2 to 12 to start, and then I have even more secret sauce coming. Here is what I keep seeing online. Tell me if you guys are seeing the same thing or not. If you disagree with me, promise I'm not going to get mad. This is just my own personal theory. This is what I'm seeing in the flex groups on the gram and in discussion. You see a ton of this. You see a guy who spent good money on an LPVO, and 5 years ago, everybody was arguing about which LPVO had the best true 1X. Oh, gotta have true 1X. This one's not a true 1X. That one's not a true 1X. And you got, like Superset CA is out, doing his YouTube videos about, oh, it's got a true 1X. And you got to pay extra for a true 1X. All right, cool. So we've got now a lot of effort has been put in making these true 1X LPVOs.
No one ever shoots them at 1X, though.
But nobody shoots them at 1X. What do we all do? We leave it at maximum magnification so that a second focal plane reticle will work, and we hang. There it is, a mediator 2.
Yeah,
this one's offset on a 45.
Or you stack them, whatever.
Or you put it on a piggyback.
There
right?
it is.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Why are we doing this? Why don't you just have
What's the point?
If you're gonna do this with a 1 to 6, why not have like a 5X prism scope? If it's gonna be at the same magnification all the time, and you're never gonna, right? So
we just talked about this.
Okay. So I'm not just crazy here, right?
No, that's exactly what's happening. Kevin and I talked about, because I was explaining why my top dot isn't what I just like, if I'm magged out, I like quickly being able to just look at a thing and then drop down. But my primary optic, I paid money for 1X. I'm going to use the 1X. But if I want higher magnification, I want a 2 to 10. I want a 2 to 12 with a dot because that makes sense to me.
Because here's what you get. You know how I said that earlier in this podcast, I said there's no such thing as a free lunch. You always have to give to get, right? Okay, so we have a true 1X in our LPVO. What did we have to give up for that? Price to anybody who can. What do we not have on this optic that we would really like to have, but we can't put it on this?
Really good 1X? I don't know.
Okay. So
Parallax?
let's say
probably.
there it is. There it is, parallax. So this is like a $400 LPVO. All right. And it's really, really nice. But a Night Force Attacker is what, $2,850?
Yeah.
Right? So let's say I'm gonna stop being poor. Stop being poor. And I'm gonna spend used car money. I can get a Miata and race SCCA all summer for $3,000. Like there's
That's a
opportunity
great
cost
idea.
here. I once bought a 4x4 for less than a Night Force costs.
Yeah.
Okay, like that was before Cash for Clunkers, but you get the idea. So let's say I'd throw down $3,000 on a really, really nice top line LPVO, and I'm gonna shoot at 800 yards with that sucker.
Yeah.
My parallax is wrong by 7 football fields, and I can't fix it. Does anybody else see a problem with this? There's nothing I can do to make that scope not fuzzy at 700 yards because it is mechanically set for parallax and focus at 100 yards. It's right there in the spec sheet. I can't fix it. I just have to, hopefully it has really good glass, which Night Force does. Their stuff's amazing. And I'm going to send shots and eventually I'm going to hit. But I can't fix my parallax problem because it's a 1X down low. That's why. Now, if I get rid of the 1X, because I don't really need it because I'm using a dot as a secondary,
Right.
I get a parallax knob that actually works. Now it's still, now it's a 2 to 12X, so I have a 6 times erector ratio. At 2 power, honestly, I can bend in this sucker.
Yeah.
If my reticle's nice and my reticle is something that I can actually find, which I worked on this one, I can do snapshots at 2, and it's like a 2X prism or whatever. Like nobody says a primary arms 2X prism is slow, do they?
Right. Well, I mean, people shoot occluded all the time. You can bend in your way to success. I have faith.
Yeah, I can bend it at 2X, no problem.
Yeah.
You get to 3 or 4, and it starts getting hanky for me. I can't do it much beyond 2, but at 2, I can still do a snapshot with both eyes open at 2. But then I go all the way to 12, which makes this, by the way, a heck of a hunting scope.
Right.
Because if you like your 3 to 9, imagine that it went from 2 to 12 instead of 3 to 9. And the other thing about these optics is that, and this is true for all of these optics, even the high-end stuff, just less, but they're not as good at the top magnification as they are just off of the top magnification. You ever notice that?
Yes, you back them down just a touch.
If you back it down just a touch, if it's second focal plane, you've screwed yourself on your reticle holds.
Exactly.
Right?
Your holds are fucked.
But this 2 to 12, this thing at 10 power destroys an LPVO at a 1 to 10.
Is that 34 too?
It's 34 millimeter tube and it's a 44 millimeter objective. So we get so much more light into the front of it. And I get a parallax knob that actually works.
Right.
Off detemp between my brightness settings. This again has a 0 stop in it. It's you pull up to unlock, you push down to lock, and there's a 0 stop hiding in there. And then this is new. It's kind of the trend right now, and I'm like, I don't really get it, but I'll go along with the trend. The trend is exposed elevation and capped windage.
Yeah.
So I've got a capped windage turret, and I remove my cap that has our little G on it, which looks cool. And then I have a very similar 0 resettable turret to the top one, but of course no 0 stop for windage. But these are 10th MRAD clicks. It's an MRAD reticle. It's first focal plane. Again, with this being a collaboration of design, this is very, very new. This is like first prototype. There's no throw lever on this. I'm like, nope, put a throw lever on it.
Yeah.
So the next time you see me one of these things, it's gonna have a throw lever on it.
Is it clockwise or anti?
So
for mag?
I am at 12, and then I go clockwise
Thank
to
you.
go to 2.
Thank you.
So
You're
2,
making
2,
Bryce very
yeah.
happy.
This would be 12. That'd be 2.
Yeah.
And I just want to see if I can even show you this through the webcam. Again, exciting stuff for our other
Yeah, everybody's
viewers.
seeing this.
I'll turn you off.
Blue. Oh, that's pretty
So
bright too.
there,
I like
yeah, I
that.
like them bright. So that's
I like that.
2x. I'm like trying to simulate the eye relief with my webcam. All right, and
Did
then
not do that. That was pretty good.
let's
Now I
crank
feel
it up
bad that we
some.
don't have video.
Yeah, right.
That was
Sorry,
pretty good.
kids. I'm showing them the reticle.
You're just gonna have to wait till it comes out to try it for yourself.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
and
mean,
then I'm gonna
we'll have
turn-
video eventually. Kevin doesn't believe me.
And then let's see if I can do this.
Believe it
Well,
when I see it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh wow.
I'm like, there we go.
That's very
Bryce,
interesting.
Bryce, describe what we're seeing for the viewers.
Yes. So there's a ring and there's like an illuminated cross in there, and it's a little bit fuzzy. You can see a little bit of my
Yeah.
Christmas tree is not illuminated in it.
I was gonna ask if it
But
had.
there's a
Yeah.
tree in there which maybe you can see. But this reticle is awesome. I mean, it is one of my favorite reticles that I've ever done in my whole life.
Wow.
I
There you can
like
get on it
the
later.
interrupt. I don't like as much with the T going all the way to the top because I kind of like having a little bit of dead space for me to be able to see what I'm aiming at. That's just like a personal preference thing.
There's
I
there's
quite
always
like that.
there's a balance between
Yeah.
being able to navigate the reticle, being able to see the reticle, and the reticle getting in the way annoyingly.
Right. Yeah. That's fair.
And
I
like,
do like that design.
yeah. Anyway, the reticle is awesome. It's a really nice 2-12. It is in
Yeah.
development. I don't know when it's going to be ready. It might be our big product launch for SHOT Show next year type thing. But I think the era of the MPVO is officially upon us. But I also hope that I also hope that the customer will be honest with themselves. Because not everybody needs this. If you are stuck in an indoor range, if you don't really get out beyond 200 yards, man, you can do anything you need to do with a 1-6 at 200 yards.
Yeah.
You
We
don't
preach that all the
really
time.
need a 2-12. You don't need to spend the extra money for it. You don't need to give up the 1X down low. I think the LPVO is still going to be kind of the king, do it all, jack of all trades and master of none. But
Yeah.
if you want to seriously start hitting out past 400, 500, 600 yards, especially if you're running like a 5.56 gas gun, if you're not running something that shoots crazy flat 6.5, 6 arc, something that's really high velocity and doesn't have a lot of drop, and you want to and you have access to something that allows you to play at those longer distances, then the MPVOs are going to be that's going to be where you want to be, because that thing doesn't weigh hardly any more than that 1-10. It just
Right.
weighs a few ounces more because it's got a 44 millimeter piece of glass in the front instead of a
Nice.
28. Because the 1-10 is a 34 millimeter tube, which means you get a 28 millimeter front objective lens, which means the eye box doesn't suck for a 1-10. That's why it's the only one that we make that has a 34 millimeter tube. The 1-8 and the 1-6 are a 30 millimeter tube. But
Right.
1-10s in a 34 millimeter tube are all so picky at 10 because there's not enough glass for you to look through. And I'm an iBox snob. Give me iBox, iBox, iBox.
So you're just
Yeah.
speaking everything that Bryce is thinking out loud. It's really interesting.
Well, I have this theory that most Americans, I think, in my experience, and rather including myself, despite the fact that I do this for a living, most of us can't really judge glass quality that well.
Mhm.
What we judge is ease of use, user experience.
Yep.
Give me
Agreed.
a scope, give me a couple scopes, and I'm going to compare them, and I'm going to look back and forth, put them on rifles, two ARs at SHOT Show that each have a scope through it, and I'm going to look through each of them, and I'm gonna make an initial impression, which is probably going to last. If I buy the scope, that's what I'm going to get. very, very few Americans are going to look through those two optics and go full autism and go, optic number 2 had 17% less chromatic aberration. That's not how most of us
Well,
think. Most of
Now
us are
we're
going to
back to
throw.
Bryce territory.
well,
Right.
now, yeah, I was gonna say that's exactly what Bryce
I was
says.
giving the Night Force guys the business.
Most of us will look through the scope and go, whichever one was easiest to look through is the one I want. And that's
Yeah.
iBox. Which one?
Yeah.
I threw it out to my shoulder. I could see my reticle. It was crisp and clear. I could see my target. I could take a shot and hit the target. That's what you want. You want it to be
Well,
easy to use.
People love the ACOGs until they try to shoot behind them, and they're like, "Oh my god, I have to have my head here." And
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
gotta
it's
glue
not
your
really
eyeball
that big
to
a
'em.
deal, but
Okay,
like,
so
you gotta, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It
ACOG
is a
trivia.
factor.
You know, we have a 1X prism scope. I got one lying around here on something somewhere. 1X prism scope has a I mentioned earlier, it has an adjustable ocular, so it always keeps the reticle sharp.
Right.
The ACOG does not. Why does the ACOG not have an adjustable ocular?
Imagine because it's not as
Big-
durable. I don't
Big
know.
army. Big army.
Because there's a military standard eyeball. It's set
Right.
for 20/20 vision. If you're not 20/20 corrected vision, you're not an infantryman. You're not going to get issued one. Why would you be looking through it?
Right.
Yep.
Easy.
So
It's
you
kinda like the
delete
British
that part.
having-
You make it tougher. You make it simpler, because why would anybody who can't see 20/20 look through one of these?
It's like the
Was the
British with the
original, yeah.
L85. They're like, well, what about lefties? It's like, we don't have those.
Yeah, right. We beat it all out of them.
They
Yeah.
are all right-handed now. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
No, the ACOG's really interesting. Yeah, I love the ACOG. ACOG's awesome. I'm a prism scope honk. Another weird, crazy thing about the ACOG is you're not seeing the whole field of view, because the way the original request for procurement was written, you could win the contract to get a big advantage in winning the contract if you could create an optic with no edge distortion. That's just the way it was written, because in these RFPs they do a lot of pie in the sky. Let's see what the engineers can come up
Yep,
with type
right,
stuff, right?
right.
Maybe nobody can do it, but if you can, that'd be really cool. So we're gonna throw it in there, right? So
They've been doing it since World War II. It's
Right.
nothing new.
right.
Yeah.
We want something that'll go 1,000 miles an hour at 100,000 feet, and if you
Right.
could do Mach 3, that would be nice, right? And then we
It's
actually
like a
did it.
Viewer
in,
43 or
yeah.
the 41s.
So if you can come up with a 4X prism scope that has no distortion at the edges, you've got a better chance of winning the competition. So of course that's not how light works at all. Every scope has edge distortion. They all do. Just how lenses work right now, until there's some amazing mathematical breakthrough at some point in the future. Every optic has edge distortion of some kind, more or less. Well, Trigicon just painted a black ring right where the edge distortion starts and shrunk down the effective field of view, so you're not actually seeing everything you could see through the ACOG, but you're seeing right to where the edge distortion starts. And then they're like,
Nice.
wow, this is incredible. There's no edge distortion. You guys win.
You
Brilliant.
could tell that
Brilliant.
because, like, if you get like right up on the body, how they have the engraving for the was it the BDC on the bottom?
Mhm.
That's the ring.
It's cut
that they
into the ring.
painted.
Yeah, it'll
Yep.
say what it is right there
Yep,
at the bottom.
exactly.
Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of the lens that you could have looked through if they
Yep.
hadn't done that.
I love that.
Crazy, huh?
It's like, well, it doesn't have a distortion if you can't see it.
I mean,
Yep.
like, it's what you. That's the
It's
thing
pretty
about military
clever- it's pretty
procurement. They will
clever how
give you
they,
exactly what you ask for.
Pretty
Yeah.
clever how
You
they
know.
got around that.
They'll give
That
you
is pretty
exactly
funny.
what you ask for. So
Huh.
yeah, crazy
Interesting.
stuff. You can tell I love my job. I love the history of it.
Yeah.
I like to know all the trends and what's going on, and I have my own theories about stuff, and sometimes I've been right, and sometimes I've been wrong, but I've been right enough to keep my job.
That's all you need to do.
You're always you never want to throw a turd out there, but so far I think I've hit some home runs. People seem to like the stuff that we're doing. Yeah. And it's not just me. It's a team effort. We got a whole bunch of guys that, aren't on podcasts and aren't on YouTube, and they work just as hard as I do. So,
Well, we thank them as well.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Mike, honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure. We thank you so much for coming on. This has been excellent.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, So real quick for the people, where can they find you, and where can they find the Gideon Optic products?
That's right. Gideon Optics is for the people. Um,
You
so
should do
yeah,
voiceovers.
we're really
Do
easy
our
to
intro,
find.
please.
Yeah, right. We're really easy to find. So we have a Gideon Optics YouTube channel. And I make YouTubes there, and Bob makes YouTubes there, and there's a lot of how-tos and us shooting and demonstrating how the product works, and why red dots are better than iron sights, and all that sort of thing. And I have a lot of fun doing it. Please go check that out, because man, for the quality of work that we're putting out there, we don't have enough subscribers. So please come find us on the Gideon Optics YouTube channel. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, x.com under Gideon Optics. The website is very difficult to remember, gideonoptics.com.
That's
Uh,
gonna be hard.
yeah, so like we're right there. Yeah, and you can reach us on social media. You can comment on the YouTubes. There's a contact us right there on the website, and you fill out a little form, and it goes straight to info@Gideon Optics, and we'll answer your questions. And I actually like the customer service interactions that I do. I do some customer service when it comes to technical stuff, and every once in a while I'll get something in customer service that really makes the light bulb go on over my head, and it turns into part of a product later.
That's cool.
Love
Yeah,
that.
like a year later, this product has a thingy in it that, because someone asked a year before in an email, how come you guys don't do the thingy? Um, and I really enjoy the crap out of that part of it. So we do have really good customers. We have really well-educated, smart customers that are just, they don't care that much about the brand name. They're not locked into buying the same thing all their friends have, or what their uncle had. They just want something that performs and does its job and doesn't break the bank, and won't break. And that's what we do. That's the guys that we're selling to. I like our customers a lot. We have really good customers. They actually go out and shoot. you know, I'm not a pride in ownership kind of guy. I'm a pride in performance kind of guy. You were talking about Rangemaster and all that stuff. I don't care how cool your 2011 is. Show me what you can do with the 2011. Show me
Right.
those
Right.
splits. Show me that bill drill. Show me that draw to
Yeah.
first shot time. A 2011 sitting in a stream on a pretty looking rock is not a very interesting thing to me on Instagram. Show
Yeah.
me what you can do with that sucker. Go out and train. Yeah.
All right. Well,
That's
Mike,
a
thank
that's
you.
a good advice. Go out and trade.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, before we end, we would like to thank the viewers and the listeners of this podcast. You guys make this all worth it and worthwhile. It makes it at all possible. Thank you so much. The best way to support the podcast is to go support Gideon Optics and go subscribe to them. I am doing that right now, actually.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And go get really cool
Give
optics
us-
from people that actually care.
Don't forget to give us the death threats and the
Yes,
longing notes.
ideally less death threats, more. Hey, we like listening
Well,
to you.
either or is fine.
Why are you so dead set on fucking
Because I know that,
positivity, Kevin? My God, man!
well,
Don't say I'm negative all the time.
anything.
The
any
only thing
publicity
he
is
just
good.
jumps in on death threats. My God, man. All
Well-
right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Give us 5-star reviews if you wouldn't mind terribly on your Spotify, your iTunes, whatever you're listening to. We appreciate.
And
I'm
if you're thinking about getting an optic, Gideon.
make it a Gideon.
Make it.
These guys are
make it,
cool. I
make
like
it a
them.
Gideon.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. One more time. Thank you again, Mike. Seriously, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're
No,
gonna have to get you back on.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun,
Oh, yeah.
and I'll do it anytime. And yeah, you guys are great. Even Kevin.
Yes. Even Kevin with his death threats. Jesus. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to roll the outro. Thank you again. And you got to find the thing. Oh, I found it.
Roll the
Hey,
outro.
you made it to the end of the video. Very cool. You should like and subscribe.
on Facebook and Instagram.
And Twitter and Spotify. You should listen there too. If you
Aren't they
heard this on
listening to
Spotify.
this on Spotify right now?
Well, they could be, but there's also YouTube podcasts. So, all of the places.
We always forget where we post this stuff.
We don't know where this is. Thank you for listening wherever you're listening to, but you should also like the other places that we are. And
Who
then
are we and what the hell are we doing here?
yeah, I don't know how we got here. So thank you for letting us talk directly into your ear holes.
Ah, right to the brain.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Adios.